name's Owen, and I'm the Dungeon Master of our Return of the Giants 5th edition homebrew campaign.
Hi, I'm Ali. I'm playing Lyra, the Eladrin Spore Druid, and she is just a little bit obsessed with mushrooms.
Hi, my name's Simon. I'm playing the character of Ember. I'm a wildfire druid who's on a quest to be the very best there ever was.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I play Harry Harrington, the Harrengon, the roguish merchant with the heart of gold.
My name is Christian. I'm playing Bartholomew, the romantic dancing Owlin, Paladin of devotion.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I'll be playing Niles Silverwind, the Owlin, Way of the Sympathy Monk.
Hey guys, I'm Jared. I play the character of Threign, the boisterous frost giant, the Goliath, path of the giant Barbarian.
Hello there, lovely listener. This is just a warning to let you know that this episode of Return of the Giants may contain adult language or adult themes. Hello!
Hola.
Welcome back to the Lost Archives, everybody. It is wonderful to see all of your gorgeous, lovely faces once again. We are here playing Return of the Giants, the premiere 5th edition homebrew campaign. We're really excited to get into the story. We obviously left on a bit of a cliffhanger last week, so I'm going to keep our announcements really brief so we can jump straight in. One quick announcement, the most important one I need to address, is that we do have Jared away tonight. Jared's had some stuff happening outside of the sessions in his personal life that's meant he's missed a couple of sessions. He's made the choice to take a step back from the stream for a couple of weeks, so we won't be seeing Jared for the next little bit. I'll find an exit for Threign. I've got 1 or 2 different options in mind, and while I'm saying this, I've just thought of a third one as well that's not too bad. So the moment I can get Threign out of the situation, I will do so. Obviously, that's going to be a bit tricky, given that you guys are all currently shackled to one another. So I'll see what I can do to help get Threign out of this situation. And also, he does stand out amongst, a city of dwarves. But I'll find a way to get Threign out. Jared will be coming back. This isn't him leaving the stream or anything like that. He's just had some stuff that he's got to sort out, and some clashes in terms of timing. So we won't see him for a little bit of time. He is okay. Just had some stuff happening outside of things. So we're wishing Jared all the best. We can't wait to have him back. But for the time being, we won't be seeing Threign in the sessions, and I'll get Threign out of this situation as soon as I can. In terms of other announcements to share, I think I announced this on the Monday night at Curse of Strahd, but I will confirm tonight we definitely don't have a Avatar stream tomorrow night. Unfortunately, we've got a couple of the players away again. One of them got married. It's a fair excuse to not be present, so I'm gonna give it a pass. Given where we're up to in the story, we are kind of at one of the big penultimate moments of the campaign. It would be a shame to progress without the whole cast, so we're going to give it another week off. I know we missed last week's as well. We'll be missing this week, but we will be back next week with the full cast so that we can carry on with the amazing Legacy of Kyoshi campaign. It's just going to be a little bit of time, and it's a difficult call to make, but I think it's going to be so much better if we've got everyone there. I think it's always better when player characters. Finales. Yeah, and it's always better when player characters are played by players, right? Like, if it was better for me to play all the characters, it'd just be my face on the screen and I'd just be doing a monologue. Like, if that was in any way, shape, or form better, that's what we'd be doing. It's not by any stretch of the imagination. It's vital that the player characters are here playing their characters. So, as much as possible, I try and avoid taking over or covering wherever I can. So, yeah, we'll sort that out, and I'll have that all figured out for next week, but we will be back, and it will be very, very exciting.
Last time you covered, I came back and Harry almost died.
That was your fault, though, not mine.
You did start that.
That was your fault.
How is that my fault? I appeared, and I had a mission to make sure she escaped, and I
picked a fight with assassins.
Yep.
Made
some bad rolls.
Rather than away.
Made some decisions.
I believe we would have gotten away with it
if it wasn't for
not got a message from another group who had just been gotten their ass kicked.
I mean, to be fair, she did push you into them, so.
And then Harry got away, and then turned around and ran back. Let's not forget that very important decision too.
Wait, I ran back?
Yeah, don't you remember?
I thought we went separate ways.
Yeah, you ran back towards them. She kept going.
You both got away playing to the entrance to like the surface world, and then you're like, "Nah, I need to sacrifice myself, Private Ryan, for no reason." it was very epic.
Wait, did that happen? I don't know if that did.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fork in the road. We went separate ways.
No, it was a straight line, and you turned around and ran back the other way.
Okay, well that makes more sense than why you hit.
It's look, to be fair, it might have been that Dave in his mind thought it was a forked road.
Yeah.
I will in future, if there's ever those moments where you're not sure, just ask and I'll describe the situation and the physical location again.
Because that was all theatre reminder. That is fair.
It was all theatre reminders.
I'll give Dave
The main thing is, she got away.
True.
She did get away. That's a good point.
She definitely
Harry
got
is
away.
trustworthy.
And Harry got
Harry's
away
still
with
alive.
very few consequences that we've seen so far. So
His soul
let's-
detached from his body, so it's fine.
Yeah, and that's mostly fixed.
Yeah.
Let's do our recap. Unless there's anything else fun to share before we start. Otherwise, I'll jump in and do our recap, and we will jump into the session. Obviously, quite a spicy episode last week. A lot of stuff to cover. Slightly more in-depth recap than we normally do, just because there was so much that happens that I wanted to cover. I've tried to keep it as brief as possible. Let's jump into it. So, previously, the Tempest Adventuring Guild, a name now legendary across the lands of Nostea, has formed a brand new team. Lyra, Niles, Harry, Ember, Threign, and newcomer Bartholomew are exploring the vast caverns of the Underdark. Drawn below by rumours of stone giants taking over territory, it has come to light that the Duergar are providing the stone giants with slaves as part of a massive mining operation. After assisting the deep gnomes of Blindenstone in reclaiming their fortress home from a draconic Behir, the plan was set to head deeper into the caverns, territory known to be occupied by the Duergar and the stone giants. After experiencing another giant dream, this one taking place in the stone giant city of Tontanur, the group have made their way into the Dorcha Chasm in search of the remnants of this lost city. Tracking the edges of the Dark Lake to the deep fissure leading to the Forge Halls, the team eventually found themselves above a river of lava, slowly flowing down towards a distant cavern, with enormous stone spires rising from the earth, the remains of the once beautiful giant city. With the understanding that heading blind into this area could be deadly, the team paused briefly to allow Bart to use his potion of clairvoyance to spy upon the leader of the Duergar, Obsidian Foot. Linking minds through Harry's Heartstone, the team watched through the arcane sensor as Obsidian Foot summoned a devil from the Nine Hells, renewing some bargain, which granted Obsidian Foot some level of control over the stone giants. With the only visible path into the city guarded by Duergar watchtowers and gatehouses, the team decided on infiltration, rather than a full-on assault. Ember used his Firbolg magic to disguise himself as a Duergar, the rest locking manacles and shackles to their arms and necks to help sell the illusion. Making their way to the gatehouse, the group watched as a battalion of armoured Duergar made their way across the bridge, but paid little attention to the party. The plan almost fell apart though when one of the guards approached Ember and called out something in Dwarvish, the party suddenly realising Ember doesn't speak that language. Harry, though, was able to sneakily translate enough for Ember to convince the dwarves to switch to Common. Revealing Bart to the Duergar, the team were quickly ushered across the bridge to deliver the cargo to Obsidian Foot. Entering the dwarven-controlled region of Tontanur, the team soon began to realise the Duergar had been here for some time, slowly taking over more and more of the ruined stone giant city and converting it into their own outpost. A large part of this operation seemed to be focused on collection of giant metal to melt down, its unique properties making it ideal for strong but lightweight armour. After coming across a group of deep gnome slaves being led by a rather gruff-looking Duergar, Ember attempted to convince the slaver to lead the group to Obsidian Foot. Making their way across a damaged stone spire, the group suddenly came to a stop. A stone giant making its way through the dwarven-controlled part of the city, looking around, confused. Taking advantage of this momentary pause, Bart shouted out the name of Harry's giant echo and the name of King Mjorn, causing the giant to focus on the group. And in that moment, the heartstones of the group connecting to the heartstone of the giant. Emerging from a side street, however, Obsidian Foot, flanked by a large number of Duergar dressed in armour made from the melted down giant metal, interrupted. As Obsidian Foot raised his hammer aloft, a sudden wave of fear emanated from the stone embedded within it, the team suddenly finding themselves seeing Elder Hunmar, the old stone giant king, where Obsidian Foot had once stood. All except Ember and Bart, able to resist the effects of the magic, instead watching on as Obsidian Foot used this guise to force the stone giant back to work, excavating the city. And we left off with an incredible roll from Simon to resist that, or a critical roll from Ember to resist that effect, a 30 to prevent that effect from taking hold. which has given Ember a very deep and instinctual understanding of the magic that Obsidian Foot was using in that moment. We're going to jump straight back in where we left off. All of you are currently shackled together, apart from Ember and your Duergar guide, climbing up the inside of this spiraling stone tower. The tower has crumbled and fallen onto the side a little bit, making it very uneven underfoot. And you've made it probably about, I'd say maybe 20 or 30 feet up the inside of this stone spire, so a couple of stories worth of climbing. And you can see that the story above you opens out onto a bridge that heads across to a massive stone and metal constructed building that's been almost bonded to the side of one of these other stone spires. The Duergar that's with you, an older Duergar with a nasty looking scar, part of his head shaved back and the hair braided back, a bit of a shorter beard than what you've seen a number of the other Duergar rocking, as soon as the giant appeared, turned back towards the lot of you. But with your outburst calling out those names, you watch as the Duergar sort of like gives you a look and goes, "What? What are you talking about?" Tries to like listen in, and then sees the giant kind of turn back towards you and speak in giant. As he sort of looks between the two of you, that's when Obsidian Foot emerges, unleashes the magic. From what you can see, Ember and Bart, the two of you being immune to this effect, it doesn't look like the dwarf has had any of this magic affect him at all. He just looks as Obsidian Foot holds aloft the stone. You watch as he nods, turns back towards you, Ember, goes, "Aye, well, that'll get the giant out of the way. God, he was here quickly enough."
Oh, yes, I mean, that could have been quite bad for all of us. He's quite large, isn't he?
As far as I was muted.
He's a big fucker. It's at that point, I'm going to roll a perception check to see if the Duergar notices Harry, Lyra, Threign, and Niles all looking up at the stone giant illusion of Obsidian Foot.
Check. I was actually going to ask, if I was going to assume it was going to be an insight check, to know if like the Duergar sees the illusion as well, or if Obsidian Foot is purposely making it so they don't see.
But I'm going to say that would fall under insight or arcana check, your choice. I like how Ali, just in that brief moment, for those of you watching the stream and the YouTube channel, you watched as she was briefly banished to the Shadow Realm for a moment, but she's back now. It's okay. The Shadow fell claim to the Raven Queen, wrapping her soft black wings around her in that moment of shadow.
Oh no.
That's a 17.
17, yeah.
Very nice. But none of the dwarves seem to be focusing on this giant figure. The Duergar that's with you, the Slaver, doesn't seem to be paying attention to the enormous stone giant illusion that you can faintly see. Even though you've resisted the effects, you can kind of faintly see this illusionary form. I think last time I just said Ember could, but I am going to change that, because the way the magic works is you would still be able to see what it's trying to show you. You're just immune to you're not encaptured or charmed by it in this instance. It's not a charm effect.
Okay.
But
Is it safe to assume that, like, it goes from Obsidian Foot just being a regular dwarf and then all of a sudden just becoming King Humor, like out of nowhere?
It's even more profound than that. For Harry, Lyra, Threign, and Niles, in that moment, you believe that Elder Hunmar has been there this whole time. While this effect is active, it almost modifies your perception and memory of this moment. There is no Obsidian Foot. There is just Elder Hunmar there commanding the giant to follow orders. I think the exact wording was, "Go, you must excavate the city and restore the splendor of Tontanur." And then with a threat of, "If you do not follow your king's instructions, you will be shattered into pieces and crumbled into the depths of the chasm."
Is that set in common, or is it set in giant? So do we understand like broken parts of it?
You hear it and understand it, because it's not spoken aloud.
I was going to wonder, who has the stronger reaction? The current character, like, who we are now, or is it the echoes within that sort of has the reaction? Like, which means, is the reaction more like me? Is it more of the cloud giant Corius, or is it like Lyra going, I kind of remember something like this?
That's a great question.
Very good question, Ali. I wasn't going to touch on this until much, much later, but you've brought it up. As you think about this, Lyra, as you concentrate, You're not seeing this with your eyes, this illusion. This is being superimposed into your memory. It is being recorded, almost as if your memory is being altered live as this is happening. And it's definitely happening through the Heartstone. Do you want to make me a spellcasting check using your druidic magic, so as if you were doing like a spell attack, just to see how much of this magic you can kind of pick up on? 12. Lyra, you're not quite sure the origins of this magic, not like Ember is. We'll get to Ember in a second. The magic itself, it's being channeled through a Heartstone. You can tell that immediately. There's a Heartstone embedded into Obsidian Foot's hammer, and it looks weird. It looks very, very, almost like light is being bent around it and being pulled in. There's this kind of like almost vortex-like appearance to it as Obsidian Foot activates this. You felt that wave of fear, and then suddenly there was Elder Hunmar speaking. It definitely seems like you're, with a 12, I probably can't give you too much more than that from a 12. That's probably the limit. But as you focus on your giant echo, Lyra, all of you have resonance with your giant echoes. That fear, it's not entirely your own. I will definitely say that.
Right. Interesting.
I've rolled for the Duergar's perception check. Luckily, this Duergar is about as Luckily, this Duergar is about as perceptive. I almost said perceptive, which is a great word, and I wish I'd committed to. Luckily, this Duergar is about as perceptive as the rocks that he resembles with his grey skin. You watch as the Duergar kind of like looks around at all the slaves, goes, "This lot are dull, aren't they? Fuck, they're going to be able to follow instructions." As he watches you all like wide-eyed and blank-gazed, staring up at nothing in his eyes. Because from his perspective, you're all just looking at the giant like, or the space near the giant. Fly fucking dull, aren't they?
Oh, look, if it was raining down here, you'd think they'd almost drown with their jaws down like that, seeing a stone giant.
I've heard of rain. That's that shit that falls from the sky, right? Water pisses down.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Why would you want to be pissed on by the sky?
Disgusting surface dwellers. Fucking worst. Come on, you lot. He starts clapping his hand, like clicking his fingers. When you're all sort of still looking up the giant, he gives Threign a prod in the back. Come on, you fuckers. Let's get moving. You. Owl. Not you. The other one, the white one. You.
No.
What do you say to that giant?
Fuck you.
But what's your armor class?
Is the guy that like punched me in the face and slammed me in the ground, right?
Yeah.
After I tried to pick his keys.
Yeah.
What's my armor class?
Yes.
Well, obviously I haven't got a chance to get the shield from the bag of holding yet, so 18. So not too bad.
Not too bad. Not too bad. You feel a sudden prick as the Duergar pulls out a blade from underneath his chest plate and slowly begins sort of pushing it through a gap in your armor just under the breastplate. You had the drow poison, Birdie. Drow, they're crafty little buggers. Come up with all sorts of really fucked up things. These potions and brews they make out of all sorts of nasty shite. You know what it does when it gets inside the bloodstream of a little birdie like yourself? Because I fucking don't. And I have to say, I'd be very curious to find out exactly what happens. I'm gonna ask you one more time. The fuck did you say to that giant?
I told him how lovely your beard is.
But there is the sensation of a sharp pricking as the Duergar pushes forward with the blade. Can I please have a Constitution saving throw?
I've been hurt so much in these shackles.
It's almost like maybe your current approach to this situation has consequences, and at some point, yeah, you'd think you'd learn to shut your mouth in that case. Doesn't seem like you keep looking for compassion. I don't think you're going to find it from these people.
How much did I take from the
It's only 2 points of piercing. It's not too bad because he's not like stabbing you. He's not trying to kill you with this blade or stab you through the heart. It's just that he is getting this poison into your system.
Question:
Hello.
How is Obsidian Foot in? Like, can he see us?
At this point, there is no Obsidian Foot, Harry. There's just Elder Hunmar standing there watching over as the stone giant slowly begins to turn and walk away.
Well, okay, let's rephrase it. Is Elder Hunmar looking at us at the moment?
Elder Hunmar seems to be gazing at the giant, watching as he directs it. It's very hard not to see what Elder Hunmar's doing.
We may have gotten a glance, Dave, because I do know that I shouted.
You definitely got a glance.
There.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if we curb stop this Duergar, it wouldn't get on well because there'd be too many of us.
Oh.
Just to remind everyone, the shackles aren't actually shackled.
No, they're not locked.
My main worry is that not only is Obsidian Foot here, but a giant that's under his control, and from memory, about 10 guards in a close proximity and 4 elite guards wearing the enchanted armor.
Wearing the enriched alloy.
Yeah.
Whereas if we can get him in his office and start beating on him, then I'll be much happier.
Those are good odds. Yeah,
that is what we discussed last session. So not too meta of us to be discussing.
Next bound, next, not hands. So you can
next
still cast
shackled,
yourself.
hands bound, but the ropes around your hands are just Harry's done this for show. Yeah, if you pull, they'll immediately come apart.
In that case, I need to retroactively say Lyra definitely did get punched in the face last session.
Because you don't have your shield. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't even say. I'm like, I see 18. Yeah, no, that's not different.
Yes.
Where we are at the moment, I guess Niles is obviously enamored by this stone giant king that's just suddenly appeared and materialized, but also not worried at all about that because that seems normal and totally fine. Niles is going to try and take in the surroundings that he's in, the location, the Duergar that are around, like trying to pick up on any other subtleties that might be occurring during this whole sort of charade.
Do you want to make a perception or investigation check, Matt? Your choice.
Definitely going to be a perception check.
Bartholomew, can I have that Constitution saving throw for the drow poison, please?
Yep, sorry, was
no, that's okay.
Right.
All good. You're seeing if you could somehow be immune.
That's technically got a +4 because I did a ability check rather than a saving throw, but I've got my +4 on that.
So 19
21.
total. Oh, and you've got your aura on as well, of course. Yeah, so 21.
I don't know why it rolled twice, but I definitely rolled a 10.
We'll definitely take the first. Bartholomew, first off with a 21, as the poison seeps in, it burns. You feel this momentary almost like tightening of your muscles around the site where it's being stabbed as you feel this paralysis begin to push through. And then as you focus and concentrate, you begin moving your muscles, counteracting the paralysis. By moving your muscles and keeping them moving, the poison doesn't have a chance to seize them and keep them locked in position. And you're able to resist the paralysis from this knife. As the Duergar pulls it free and looks at you, are you telegraphing? Yeah, cool. Perfect. Don't worry about a performance check. He stabbed you with a knife. He thinks it's worked. Niles with a 10.
Not great roll.
Niles, I mean, the dwarves, the weirdest thing is that the dwarves, the Duergar down on the streets, don't seem to be behaving differently or weirdly at all. Elder Hunmar, the elder of the stone giants, is standing there in the middle of this street. The Duergar are just going about their business like nothing happened. Now, as soon as the stone giant, the younger stone giant, turned and started walking away, following the instructions of his king, the Duergar have just gone back to work. You see Sverfniblin being pushed around, other slaves being pushed around, the collection groups, the scavenging groups that are going out, those that are fitted with those collars, the explosive collars. You can see there's a group not 30 feet from Elder Hunmar's left foot, and they're not even looking up.
I think at this point, Niles is gonna just sort of mutter under his breath. Is anyone else seeing this? The Stone Giant King, he's right there.
Do you say that in common?
Yep.
You watch as the Duergar that have been talking to Ember pauses for a moment and looks over at you, Niles. Sorry, he was focused on Bart. He just stabbed Bart as he pulls the knife free, and you say that, turning to Threign. Yeah. You watch as the Duergar freezes and turns and looks at you. What did you just see? You can see. Oh.
Yeah, he's right there.
Well, this is interesting.
What?
You
What?
lot.
What?
Oh, this is interesting. You're gonna be much easier to control if you're under the same spell as the fucking stone giants. Wait. What's that in your hand? As he looks at your hand and really focusing on you for the first time, Niles, in
I
this
can't really
moment.
cover it because of the manacles, and I don't want to break
The
the
ropes.
manacles just yet.
He grabs your hand and turns it over and sees the tiny stone implant, the crystal implant. You watch as his eyes go wide. You've got the same fucking implant as that giant, as most of those giants. What are you?
I'm going to try to play him a little bit here. Niles, stop it. He can't find out about the fountain to the west.
Oh, yes. The fountain, of course. I try to, move my hands away.
You fucking birds testing my patience. You tell me about this fountain to the west right now, and I won't cut your fucking beaks off and deliver you to Obsidian Foot, trussed and plucked like the birds you are. What is the fountain?
Maybe we could discuss this in a more... I look around. Lots of ears here. Perhaps we could go somewhere that's a bit more secluded, a bit more private, perhaps. We can tell you all we know.
Shock my head at how fucking dumb he is. He was literally told by the Swift Nobleman about a fountain to the west where the spiral thing was found. So I was trying to...
Do you think he was listening to the Swift about the fountain, or do you think his orders were, as soon as they said, "Oh, we found something," he's like, "Go back there and fucking get more." Like he wasn't paying attention to the fountain. He doesn't care about that. He cares about what you've found right now.
I'm gonna internally roll my eyes. No, we're not telling you anything because you're just going to treat those Fifth Noblemen even worse.
What's Fifth Nob? The fucking slaves. You told me to send them away. He turns towards you, Ember. The fuck's going on here?
Oh shit.
Look, I'm not too sure what these ones are doing. I think they've been wondering for a while. Maybe they're surface dwellers. Let's be honest. Maybe their minds are playing tricks on them.
I'm not so sure. This doesn't make any sense. You lot told me to come with you. You insisted I show you to Obsidian Foot and let those slaves go free. And now what? Now you're telling me that those Svathniblin, someone knows something about this? You're going to answer my questions right fucking now.
I'm not saying that I purely know anything, but what I think we really should do is we should take them to Obsidian and get this all sorted.
Make me a persuasion check, Ember.
Ooh.
You would have had disadvantage. I would have had advantage from earlier efforts, but this situation you have found yourselves in is not ideal. 12. Oh, something doesn't fucking add up here.
Oh, something doesn't add up. Are you what? You're wanting the Swift Nobleman glory for yourself? Does everyone hear that?
Glory.
You're wanting
no fucking glory there.
Items that are meant for Obsidian Foot for yourself, is it?
You think you can get me in trouble? No one cares what tune you sing, Birdie. No, I want to know what this is. What plan have you tried to cock up with the other slaves?
See if Obsidian Foot heard my shouting.
Oh, you're really shouting it out.
I shouted that
Okay.
out.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Could you make me a
That's good.
performance check, please, Bart?
Oh, please roll well.
Okay, 18.
That's pretty good.
But as you glance towards your right into the opening where the bridge pushes across, as you glance down, you can see Obsidian Foot standing there, his attention now firmly fixed on the tower. And you watch as he looks up, narrows his eyes for a moment, and then turns to the two of the elite guards with him on either side and points right up at the group where you guys are standing. You watch as they take off at a bit of a brisk run. As they begin moving towards you, you watch as both of them hold their hands out, clench their fists as these arcane letters begin to swirl around them, and then you watch as they teleport 30 feet up on top of one of the other spires and begin making their way towards you.
Cool.
next to you, the Duergar who had been like very confidently, the Duergar slaver who'd been like, no one's gonna fucking believe you, as he sees the two elites coming towards him rapidly, and you lot with him. You watch as he grows a little bit more nervous than he was a second ago. What? No.
Yeah, high fade.
No. I was bringing them to. I was bringing him to Obsidian Foot. Stop this! No. As he holds his hand out, you watch as the two elite guards begin rushing forwards. As they get closer, you can see that they are both female. The armor and the breastplates that have been molded around them are not overly accentuated, but accentuated enough to kind of show off their very strong muscles on their forearms, and the dress that they're kind of wearing down is almost like a kilt-like dress of layered leather, patches of almost like a scale mail of the enriched alloy stitched into the dress around them. And as they reach onto their backs, you watch as they pull out these two very small staves, click them together, and a blade, almost like a glaive, pushes out from the end as the staves extend as they both bring them and hold them down towards the group of you.
That's cool.
They have helmets. As they get closer, you see that you can't see their faces. The helmets have built-in masks, which have these almost like demonic-looking snarls. And there's no holes for the eyes. How they are seeing through these, you have no idea. But as they both pause and come to a stop, you hear their voices ring out and true as if the masks weren't there at all. Stop! Stand down! Any resistance will be met with instant punishment. You watch as the dwarf, the slave who's with you, immediately drops his hammer and puts his hand straight up. And then gets down at his knees and then presses his head to the floor. Immediately. No. It wasn't me, it's fucking slaves. They're saying shite. It's just slaves saying shite, okay? As he gets down. What would the rest of you like to do?
Was the blade being pointed? Sorry, who was the blade being pointed at? Was it to
they're currently being pointed towards the group. They're sort of slowly, essentially, they've taken up like a position, forming like a wedge on either side of the group of you, with the blades pointing slightly in at an angle, and they're keeping all of you. So if they need to make a stab, they can make the tiniest movement and then push, and the glaive will immediately go into any one of you. It looks like all of you are currently kind of being held as targets at this moment.
I'd probably do the same thing as what the other guys doing. I'd get down and be putting my head against the ground as well, just to try and copy, try and fit in.
I'm going to get on my knees and sort of like loudly whisper so that they can hear it. Serves the traitor right. I wonder if they're going to find that contraband. And I'll get on my knees as well.
It's going to be a very satisfying moment for you when you're able to get this guy fucked over, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Niles is probably going to take a glance again at the armor now that it's a bit more up close, real quick. Just, you mentioned those arcane runes. Are there any sort of like anything standing out on the armor itself that might give away that it's magical in nature, or?
Niles, the armor isn't. If it was forged from the metal that it resembles, almost like this bronze or copper,
sure,
it would be way too thin. And there's also patches where it doesn't properly line up and melt. You can see that this armor has been forged together from various pieces of metal, and it hasn't been fully melted. It looks like they have got this armor almost to the point of melting and have used a heat fusion method to almost sear it together and then bashed it around a mold. So it's been hot enough to shape, but not hot enough to completely melt and be able to be molded.
On one hand, the armor looks really impressive, but then it also looks very hastily made.
Yes, almost like there's a homemade aspect to this.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the same with the masks?
The masks are very different. The actual masks themselves don't seem to be made of the enriched alloy. The helmets are, the masks aren't, and they are beautifully made. It looks like they've actually been made from gold.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that trigger anything, like wearing masks as like a historical thing for dwarves that I'm aware of?
Do you want to make me a history check, Niles?
Absolutely. Not my greatest stat, but why not? We'll roll and see.
Why not? No harm, hey?
Hey, that's a 20.
That's a natural 20 for a total of 19.
Natural. Yeah.
Niles, you have heard of dwarves wearing masks before. Not so much the Duergar. Your knowledge of the Duergar is pretty limited, but your knowledge of the mountain dwarves of Balmia is, I would say, probably quite advanced. The Silverwind family would have had a number of contracts for trade with Balmia. One of the main, obviously, raw materials and forged items coming out of Balmia, fetching a very, very high price once transported across to Veloxur or to Chari or over to Oshia. So a lot of business there. And so you have spent some time studying aspects of dwarven culture. Yes, the masks are worn by elite soldiers who have given up their identity to become protectors. They're sometimes known as shields of the king or shields of the queen in the history of the mountain dwarves.
That's really interesting.
And they have no identity once they give this up. That's it. They are now just there's a great degree of honor in becoming or being chosen as a shield. It is a very rare occurrence. Only the best fighters and the most loyal are picked for this very honorable position. You think this is a similar thing with the Duergar, what you're seeing here? You're kind of seeing the correlation. But Obsidian Foot's no low king, you think. But
this does ring a bell though. Like Niles sort of sees in this a similar sort of culture to what he's now realizing is common in the Erish theocracy, with heads of family being referred to as talons. It's a very similar sort of structure, and obviously some of the warriors also adorning sort of masks, more so in I guess theatre, which could be similar to what Bart would be known for. But also he sees a bit of familiarity with this. He's not completely shocked by this.
No, absolutely. And I would say, Niles, with a natural 20, the masks are enchanted. They provide a degree of sight beyond what a mortal can see with their eyes.
Gotcha. Cool.
Perfect. As I'll say, as the rest of Threign is not going to get down and bow, but he'll sort of lower himself enough so that if you guys want to bow, you're not just sort of hoisted up into the air by the chain around his neck. But I don't think Threign would bow in this instance. He would sort of stay standing up pretty tall.
I think I would too.
Yeah, for sure. As the two elite soldiers stand there, you watch as one of them turns to the other one, nods, and then pulls back the glaive, splits it open, and you watch as the blade shifts, melts back in, and then forms these two war picks as the shaft is split in half again back into the two composite components. As the shield, I'm going to call them shields from now on because I think Niles now knows them by that name, or the elite soldiers. As the elite soldier with the two war picks pauses and looks down upon the lot of you. You watch as she nods, looking across, looking at each of you, and pauses as she looks at Ember for a moment and cocks her head.
Oh, shit.
Ember, could I get you to roll me a spellcasting check, as we're going to see how good your Firbolg magic is holding up against the enchanted masks?
Oh.
Spellcasting. Okay, how do I do that?
Oh, if it's disguise self, doesn't it have a DC in the spell itself?
I believe it. Oh, yeah, no, it is. That's right. So it's actually her rolling an investigation check against your spell save DC. What is your spell save DC, Ember?
That is a great question, Owen. I wish
It'll
I
be on
knew.
your spell.
It's 14.
14. I'll roll right now.
Oh, you could all go to shit right now. Oh, no! Fuck.
You watch
13, right?
You watch as the elite soldier, the female Duergar, sort of cocks her head for a moment, pauses and looks down. This demonic face, the mask inscrutable, as it gazes upon you for a second or two, Ember. And then you hear her speak. Explain this.
Oh, she knows.
I don't say anything at this point. I'm still looking down at the ground and hoping that she's not actually talking to me.
Like I told you, he's a traitor.
You watch as she turns back towards you, Bart, and says, I recognize you. You were one of Obsidian Foot's playthings. Quiet. I said, Explain this. The other dwarf, taking advantage of your silence and seeing an opportunity to potentially redeem himself and correct the narrative that Bart has created in this moment, decides to quite unwisely speak up in this moment.
Oh no.
Right, you've got to understand. This one's trouble. He's always been trouble. It's... You watch as she brings the war pick down and slams it into his hand, piercing through the top of the flesh and going straight into the stone. As you hear him sort of like bite back a scream, as blood begins flowing from the wound, you watch as she slowly tilts the pickaxe and pulls it up so his hand rises with it. It doesn't slide out. It's now trapped on the blade.
Oh.
If I was talking to you, you would know it. Speak out of turn again, and I will take your hand and add you to the slaves you are supposed to be guarding. You do not make me ask a third time. Explain this. As she looks down at you, Ember.
Oh fuck.
These are the new slaves. This is the leading one, and I'm kind of like I'm up a little bit, so I can kind of turn my head slightly, but not to the point where I'm going to be looking directly at this thing.
As you lift your head up just enough, you suddenly feel cold steel underneath your chin as she lowers the second war pick and uses it to gently guide your chin up until you're looking right at her.
Okay.
Her chin his chin as well, not like his pecs where the dwarf's head would be.
Not Ember's chin, the illusionary chin. Because the way the disguised self kind of works is it tries to fit the illusion around as best it can. And as you're on the ground, Ember, you don't need to be super, super tall. So as you drop to the ground, the illusion kind of shifts so that it's now superimposed with your face again. So it's because the disguised self's always going to try and fit with the way you're sitting and moving and standing. So as you drop down, it's going to move with that. And so it's the same actually, same chin. As you feel the cold steel lift underneath your chin and lift it up to look at her, you look into this mask.
The lead one is the one that escaped. It's the one that Obsidian Foot's after.
And the rest?
I believe part of their party. I was so concerned about getting the lead one here that I didn't ask him any more questions.
And what of you?
Was he dying to Quogoths? Isn't that right?
You watched the other masked Duergar. You were warned, Christian, to be silent.
I know. I'm trying to get them off of fucking Ember.
As the other masked Duergar, the other elite warrior, with no warning, spins the glaive around and slams it into the side of your head with quite a bit of force. That is going to be
The moment he's found out, shit hits the fan.
That's going to be a 22 to hit, but
yeah.
That's going to be 6 points of bludgeoning damage. And could I get you to make me a Constitution saving throw to avoid being dazed by this as she slams it right into your temple?
Same as before, 21 again.
21. Okay. You managed to maintain your wits about you as this slam comes in. You're kind of expecting it, Bart. You know how this is going to go. You're doing this to try and take heat off Ember. You know that there's going to be punishment for you every time you do this. But you cannot afford to let the plan fall apart. And as you call out, you brace yourself for the impact, and it comes right as you were expecting, right into the side of the head. You manage to turn your head with it so it doesn't knock you senseless, but it looks like it's been a solid blow as you kind of move with the force of the glaive staff. The dwarf, the elite soldier who is talking to you, Ember, has not shifted or moved a muscle, has not even flinched. You watch as she slowly lifts up the other war pick ever so slightly, the slaver Duergar with his hand, as he's lifted up a little bit higher as a result of his hand jammed through this blade. She doesn't even acknowledge him as she looks at you. And what of you?
What of me?
You captured these, did you not?
I simply didn't capture these. I brought them in from the wall. There was such a commotion with the Quogoths that they were passed along to me to bring into the city. I didn't want to fail Obsidian and not bring back one of his prized pets.
Make me a deception check, please, Ember.
It's a
That's a natural one.
Oh no!
It was going so well. It's a natural
it's
one.
All over. It's all fucking over.
Ember, you watch as the figure cocks its head a little bit more, the blade right up against your throat, as you feel it pull against your chin ever so slightly. You hear her voice again, echoing through the mask. You're lying.
Yes, okay, I was. I was a coward. The Quogoths were fighting. I didn't even see the battle. I simply saw these and wanted to get back inside the city.
Not a lie. None of those things are a lie. Your cowardice will have consequences. But you will get your wish. As she flicks the war pick back, pulls the other war pick out of the other Duergar's hand as it splits and he drops to the ground. She joins them back together into the glaive before resting it on her shoulder. Come. You will speak to Obsidian Foot. And we will learn from each of you what the truth is. With that, she turns and begins marching away. The other elite guard, dropping into this battle stance and gesturing with the glaive.
I am going to get back up. I'm going to try and compose myself. And then, seeing Bart at the front of the line, I'm just going to grab him by the shoulder or like whatever he's wearing, like his armor. I'm assuming he's been knocked down at this stage. Going to pick him up and just start dragging him along in the direction. So,
Perfect.
Bringing the whole group.
As you all begin following along, the other Duergar, the slaver Duergar, now with a gash in his hand, a hole through his hand, this slice, begins sort of like trying to gather it and hold it against him to stop the bleeding. He shoots Bart a venomous look, a look of rage and pain and hatred, as he very much takes in every single detail he can about you, Bart, and commits it to, I would say, long-term memory at this point.
I'm gonna flick him a wink.
Nice.
just remember that we our heads can turn on a swivel because we're ours. So if you just want to look at him unblinkingly with an owl
Just
instead, you
slowly
definitely can.
turn your head. It just rotates around 180 degrees to look at him. Yeah. Very nice. As you will begin making your way across the bridge towards the edge of this larger building, down below, you can see Obsidian Foot still looking up. And as he watches each of you pass by, another Duergar rushes up and taps him on the shoulder. He pulls his gaze away and turns towards this other Duergar. They seem to be having a conversation. You watch as Obsidian Foot smiles, nods, and then begins striding away in a very similar direction to where you're going. You're currently up on top of this bridge. He's down below in the streets. But
before as soon as we get close to him, how close is close in feet?
You're currently still like 120, 140 feet away. Still pretty far away because you're all right up looking down into the city.
So just to set the scene, so we're on a bridge. We're up above.
So one of the spires has split and fallen. You've walked up the inside of that, the spiral staircase inside of that, to get to this higher bridge, and that bridge leads to a spire that is intact in the very center.
So we are away from the main sort of
You're
city.
no longer on the street. Yeah, you're up above the city streets.
Okay,
All
that's
right.
fine. If we were going to get close to him, there was stuff I wanted to do.
Well, no, I just mean more if he's going to come to us. I want to know if this.
It looks like you're both heading towards the same building. He's on the street level. You're currently up above. There's an enormous spire right in the very
so there
center
is
of
a
the
building that we're heading
and
towards.
there's a stone building that has been built into the side of this spire that is fixed in place with metal brackets, large metal struts holding in. This is clearly a dwarven construct. This massive building built into the side of the spire up in front of you. It looks like you're both heading in the same direction. He's probably going to take the inside spiral up.
Looking ahead, are there guards posted at this sort of dwarven structure?
Yes.
By the looks of it, from where we are?
Yeah, you can see at least two more of the elite guards standing outside the front of it. Add two archers on the roof with those same scorpion. The same scorpion crossbows that you saw before. The massive Try and remember the other name for them. Scorpion.
Ballista.
Ballista. Thank you. Yeah, Scorpion Ballista on top of the building.
If we get within around 60 feet of him, there's stuff I want to do. Like if our paths get close enough.
Do you need to see him or just be within 60 feet?
No. So I'm wanting to. I don't need to hide. I'm wanting to use the new Divine Sense, which lasts for 10 minutes and doesn't need direct line of sight anymore.
Perfect.
And I'm wanting to, try to feel for a certain coin on him.
Absolutely.
Ooh, cool.
As you begin marching across this bridge, Niles, and I believe Niles, Ember, and Lyra, you've probably got the highest passive perceptions, do you not? What are everyone's passive perceptions? Just really quick.
15.
15. 16. Ember, yours would be about 16, 17, right? 16, yep. Harry?
Sorry, yeah, 16.
Yours is decently
It
higher, I remember.
is-
It's like 14, isn't it?
Perception is 17.
17, even
Oh,
higher.
okay.
And Bart, what's
Wow.
yours?
9.
9. Bart, you don't see this. Harry, Ember, Lyra, and Niles. It's alright, Threign doesn't see it either, so it's okay, Bart, you're not alone. Yes, Divine Sense did get buffed in the latest updates, for those of you who are wondering.
Fuck yeah.
And an okay buff, a reasonable buff that I very much agree with. Harry, Ember, Lyra, Niles. As you begin walking along this bridge, Harry, you spot it first. Being a prey animal, being a little rabbit, you're very attuned to dark shapes flying above you. There's a genetic fear, a genetic awareness of certain body shapes making certain movements high above. And the shape of an owl or a bird, a predatory bird flying above, is one of those things that's always going to just trigger your attention straight away. And you catch it out of your peripheral vision. How you spot this, you're not exactly certain. This figure flying above on large bird-like wings is flying almost silently. And they blend in with the darkness of the cavern itself. You watch as they do a loop and then begin spiraling down rapidly, dropping out of the sky before landing on the platform outside the front of the building. You see it's an Owlin, a little bit shorter than Niles, dressed in dark layered clothing. Black feathers, inky grey-black, with white speckles all over the surface. Very similar to a sooty owl, if anyone here is an ornithologist or a keen birdwatcher. And you watch as the Owlin lands and the 2 elite guards make no defensive maneuvers, make no effort to stop at all. In fact, as the Owlin approaches, you can see there's a conversation going on as one of the elites points down at Obsidian Foot marching towards the building. You watch as the Owlin locks eyes with Obsidian Foot, nods, turns, and heads inside. Niles, you recognize this Owlin immediately.
Yep.
This is Nyx Silverwind, your cousin.
Oh, shit.
The last time you saw Nyx wasn't so great.
Yeah.
But to find her here, in the Underdark, dealing with Duergar, is very unexpected.
Yep. I didn't add this one to the spreadsheet, Christian.
Because this isn't someone from the Eris theocracy, technically.
Technically.
Yeah, your cousin, Niles. Older cousin, I believe. By a couple of years. Or I think by a year or 2. Probably if it was humans, it'd be a couple of years, but as Owlin, your lives, year or 2. And as you see her, those memories begin to resurface. The training yard. The methods that you have sworn never to use again.
Yeah.
The training that you went through. And the life you took.
Yep.
That shame you've carried with you all these years as you see Nyx land and then head inside. You're very confident she hasn't seen you. And in this moment, Niles, you're a bit scared of what's going to happen if she does.
Yeah, I'm terrified. I was already like a little bit scared, but now I was okay. I was okay with the elite Duergar. I was okay.
Yeah, the Duergar's not so scary.
Yeah, that's fine.
King Mjorn, Obsidian Foot, King Mjorn.
I am very visibly worried and shaken by this.
I'm going to say that all of you notice as all of you see this Owlin land and head inside, all of you, even Bart and Threign, who do not have super high passive perceptions, it's impossible not to notice the behavioral change in Niles in this moment from the sounds of things. It's marked, and instantly Niles' entire demeanor shifts. Do you want to even say there's like a tremor in your... is it your right hand that's bound in black cloth? There's almost a sudden, immediate tremor in Niles' right hand.
Yep.
As we're moving, I'm just going to, as well, as subtly as I can, slip a hand bound like underneath one of my chinks and just heal myself for my missing hit points with lay on hands.
Fantastic. I don't believe there's a verbal component to that, so it's very easy to do subtly. Brilliant. As you all observe this sudden behavioral change in Niles. Does anyone speak up? Anyone do anything while you're marching along, or shall we continue?
How long have you been going at this point?
A minute.
Because I think
you've just started marching across this bridge, which is why you think this Owlin did not spot you. You're currently in the shadow of this large spire. There's no lighting or crystals above you. There's no fires burning on this side of the spire. You were currently coming out of that shadowed section. You think it probably would have been very difficult to spot all of you amongst the craziness of the city as well. With you lot marching across the bridge, if she had come even 2 minutes or 3 minutes later, you would have been in full view and she would have been able to see you from above. But the timing on this was almost perfect for you to avoid being seen. Although, to be fair, if she'd come earlier, she wouldn't have seen you either, because you would have still been inside the spire. So, yeah, it's just lucky that she came a bit earlier.
Niles makes any noise, I'm just going to be... because he's behind me in the order of our walking, I'd probably just be focused on Obsidian.
Yeah, fair.
Is Niles in front of Lyra? In sort of the
I
order?
believe so.
Yeah.
I believe in the marching order, yeah.
If she sort of can, just sort of, loud enough that he might just be able to hear it, but very much sort of under the breath, like, I'm not starting to, I'm not trying to pick a fight with anyone, like, and she might just sort of say, it's like, oh, I'm guessing not a friend of yours. Any tips for success? Like, hoping that he might get sort of the drift of, like, anything we need to know, like, weak points, or just don't mention blah.
Any tips for success is a hilarious way to phrase that.
That's a very funny.
I don't want to seem like I'm like, trying to be antagonistic if anyone does overhear.
It's been a while. Just watch out for her fists.
All right.
But why is she here, of all places? It doesn't make any sense. Why would the... Oh, no. Oh, no. No, they wouldn't do that. I think I know why she might be here. Although it doesn't make any sense. But no, it's Nyx we're talking about. Of course she'd be here. It makes perfect sense.
Is there anything we can do to spin it in our favor?
Not easily. No, it's the whole reason. It's the reason for everything. It's the reason that Bart's here. It's the reason that the Duergar are doing what they're doing. It's too much to explain right now.
I guess, just, is she part of your family? If we kill her, if we disappear her, is, the family going to...
Are you saying all Owlin are related?
No, but he is having a very clear reaction.
I shoot a glance at Lyra, and I say, she's pretty high up in the Silverwind family. Let's just say that not all the Silverwinds agree on certain methods. Those who are successful are, they're good businessmen. Or
business owls.
Business owls.
It's like a business snake. We've discussed in Tyranny of Dragons.
Like a business snake, as you may be familiar with. No, but it's not just the acumen; it's the ruthlessness. I was not completely honest with Bart before when we heard about what the aristocracy were truly behind. The Silverwinds have always been that way, although recently it has gotten significantly worse. I'd say recently, within the last few decades. No. Nyx is forging her own path. She wants to take on the head of the family for control.
Do you have any secrets that you might be able to sort of dangle in front of her to even just get her to be quiet? Anything you can use as leverage?
Possibly. I mean, I'm sure she would love it if I decided to join her in her nefarious ways. We were friends once, but I was not willing to cross that path when it came to it. But if I have to, I could tap into a side of things that I would rather not. There's a reason I became a Way of Sympathy monk. It was a way to try and deal with these feelings, to deal with these emotions, to try and channel them into a power that I can use for good. A rare thing in the theocracy, by the sounds of things.
Does seem to be going that way, but well, I mean, we won't hold it against you if you do need to.
In a hushed breath, because
I'm assuming all of this is very much whispered amongst the group as you're walking. Yeah.
I was wrong before. I thought that the Duergar were making the weapons for themselves to fight in the Balmia front, but if Nyx is here, it can only mean one thing. The Silverwinds have commissioned them for their armor. They must be mounting something. Perhaps it's for the royal family, perhaps it's for themselves. If that's the case, then who knows what they could have planned. If Nyx is here to broker a deal with the royal family, it means that they are equipping themselves for some sort of larger conflict, which I'm sure Bart will not be too thrilled to hear. If Nyx is here to broker a deal to gain the armor for themselves, and for the supporters of her in her quest to take on Titus, the Talon of the Silverwinds, then that means that not only will she take over the family, she will pose a threat to the royal family itself. It'll be a coup. Not unlike what Bart has already discussed, except she has the means and the will to do it. Not just a group of us. She would have a sizable backing.
Would she be likely to take you at face value if you said that you were to side with her? Or would you just think that's too suspicious?
I don't know. I could try, but I mean, the reason that we split when we did was because I did not agree with her methods. They were too bloodthirsty for my liking. She lacks... Nyx is many things. She's very talented, very skilled. Probably one of the finest combatants I've seen. Maybe even that of a rival to Threign himself and others that I've seen. She values skill in combat and a ruthlessness. That is what she values most. If I could appeal to that side of her, I did have that drive once, but I think it would be suspicious for me to suddenly turn coat here of all places, manacled and in the middle of the Underdark.
You said it yourself. You haven't seen her in a while. I mean, for all she knows, you could be a completely different owl.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't know you at all, like some of us.
Perhaps if there's, a guard nearby that you can be ruthless on.
I don't think now is the right time. Look, I didn't want to come clean because I was hoping that we could have this conversation in nicer circumstances.
Niles, everyone has secrets. Don't get too cut up about it.
Well, they do, but this is a little bit not great timing. Look, all you need to know is that I don't agree with what she and what others like her want for the family. I much prefer the methods of my uncle, who cares about the lower class and wishes for more equality amongst those ranks, and I would see that be brought forward to be something that would be considered a good and ideal thing, not this bloodthirsty ruthlessness for power that so many seem to crave. Yes,
says at this point, Niles, you realize while this conversation has been going on, how close you have now gotten to the building. The same entrance that Nyx went through, Two elite soldiers standing side by side, looking out across the entryway, keeping guard. Lock eyes, these masks again locking on each of your faces as the masks gaze over you and stare at you before the two soldiers stand aside and you are ushered in. As you enter into the building, the opening here, this initial entryway, seems to be a much larger, much more well-furnished room than you might have been expecting. Interestingly though, across the ground in a couple of different locations, you can still see skeletons, small, very much gnome-like skeletons, partially melted into the stone, as if it has been turned to liquid and swallowed them partially. The stones around them having climbed up over, petrifying the bones, leaving them this almost greyish white, to the point where it's hard to distinguish whether these were once real bones or carved out of the stone itself. Nyx is not in the entry hall, much to Niles's great relief. Sitting at a stone desk, the far end of the room, you can see another male Duergar, this one with a very short cropped beard, hair long and tied back into a ponytail, who appears to be scribbling furiously in a ledger. As he looks up at the elite soldiers as they march in, he looks back at all of you, nods and begins writing down in the book, no words passing. As he finishes, he looks up and speaks to one of the guards in Dwarvish. So at this point, only Threign and Harry understand this next bit. As he looks up and goes, Roisk exgevurget nos nokid. Harry and Threign here. Right, so what have you brought us? Who this lot? The elite guard responds. Prisoners, slaves possibly, and two of our kind who have failed in their duties, ready to join them. Oh, right. I'll get the names and descriptions down quickly then. Another guest has come for Obsidian Foot. I'll have to wait in the holding cells until he's finished. No. We will guard them ourselves outside his chambers. It's important. He'll want to see these ones as quickly as possible. Right, yes. Head on through then. So the rest of you just hear Dwarvish being spoken in very broken, guttural sounds as the words almost flow off their tongues. It's very hard to kind of make out what's happening if you don't speak Dwarvish. But with that, Ember, you watch as the Duergar next to you at the mention of... Oh no, you don't know what he's saying. Harry and Threign, as the mention of the two Duergar are going to join them, his mate, you watch as the Duergar with the slave who's had his hand cut open, you watch as he pales visibly, clutching his hand to his chest, and just bows his head, looking horrified. With that, you are led through a narrow stone corridor, one by one pushed forwards by the sharp glaives at your back, before another room opens up before you. And I'm going to move you across and place you on a map for this section. Not because I think you need to see the map, but just because it gives us good context for where you'll be and what'll be happening for the next little bit. So let me bring you across to said map, and it's going to be a massive thank you.
It's a map. That means I have to fight things, Owen.
You have to fight things. Well-known truth there. You should be able to see, and barely be able to see through the bars of the cell as well. I might just update. Not that one.
Just a very dead-looking something or other.
Yeah, there's, as I said, there's these like bones through the bones sticking out through the floor that you can kind of see, half melded into the stone itself. Let me bring across so that
Lovely decor.
Lovely decor.
Pile of bones.
Yeah. Nice little pile of
Just a
bones.
couple of things I wanted to clarify for continuity's sake. Obviously, being sort of led with some of our stuff attached to it, is Kong Chi brought in with us?
No,
or brought
you guys
us
had to
all?
dismiss Kong Chi even coming across the bridge. Kong Chi hasn't been with you since you guys came across the bridge because, I mean, it would have been very, very suspicious to have Kong Chi walking behind you just with like a rope being well behaved. Kong Chi would have been led away from you immediately as soon as you came into the city by the guards.
Okay.
I think, yeah, so at the moment, the stuff you had in Kong Chi is just inside the bag of holding that Ember has on his waist.
And the undead that Lyra had summoned that I disguised.
Inside.
looked like one of those?
What was that? Sorry, Lyra?
Tim the Second.
Tim the Second. I believe you guys also spoke about putting him in the bag of holding too, rather than having him come across, because the disguise wasn't awesome. Or did I imagine this? Was there no discussion of putting him inside the bag of holding?
I think I think we did.
I do have a memory of
Very
that.
possible.
I mean, it
we
makes
put
sense.
the bones. We put the bones in, the
Yeah,
bag.
I
of
do
holding.
have a memory
Yeah.
of you
So we had
gathering.
That's the bones that I snuck into the bag, but I also had raised one of the Duergar that was killed by the Quaggoths right before they all turned tail.
Yeah, as a zombie.
And then, yeah, I'm not sure if he was also disguised and then bound along with us, or if we also stuffed him in.
The disguise, I mean, I'm going to say now, you know that like any physical disguise, any non-magical disguise is going to struggle to make him look like a living creature. The way he walks, the way he moves is going to make it very hard to hide him. I'd say most likely, with the knowledge that that is the case,
Stuffed him in.
it makes sense for him to be in the bag of holding too. Safe place for him.
That works. He doesn't need to breathe.
He doesn't need to breathe. It's actually
need to
the
breathe.
safest place for him right now. Hilariously enough. Awesome.
No, I'm going back holding.
As you are placed inside this room, the door closed, you hear a click of a key behind you, and you are left alone in this room. The other Duergar who fucked up is also in there with you. I'll quickly add him to. I did not prepare for him to be stuck with you lot. As he is pushed into the room with you, the door's closed. You watch as he turns towards you, Ember. He goes, in Dwarvish. So only Threign and Harry understand this. As he turns towards you, Ember, he goes, Harry, you hear, and Threign hears. Right, here's how we get out of this. We throw these fucking slaves onto the bus. Everything is their fault. You and I, we're in this together, right? We can still get out of this.
Surely Threign would say something, right?
I don't know. I think Threign in this moment is kind of finding this whole thing pretty funny.
Threign would laugh. He would legitimately laugh.
Threign would just go, as he looks towards the Duergar. You watch as the Duergar looks up, gives him a disgusted look, and turns back towards you, Ember.
Considering that I can't speak Dwarvish, I'll get
You
a
did
turn
learn
around and say,
two words. You learned yes and no, remember?
He's trying to save himself, right?
Yeah, I don't know that.
You don't know that.
He looks panicked.
He looks panicked
Yeah.
as he looks towards you, Ember, and begins to speak. And he points at everyone else, then points at you and him, does like a back and forward with his finger to like kind of indicate you two as a team. I'd say you can kind of contextually figure out a little bit what's going on here.
I'm just going to say, put my hand on your shoulder and be like, brother, I agree. I think we should all work with everyone here to find a way to get out.
You watch as he
obviously, I don't know that he's talking about that, but I'm assuming as much.
You watch as he pauses for a moment, looks around at the rest of the group, and then
I'm
nods.
going to wink at him as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. As you wink at him, he nods and goes like, aye. Winks back at you.
Oh, bad things going now. Oh,
Okay.
I don't think you should.
No, not really.
I'll be like, do you know much of a layout of this area? I must admit, I've only ever been on the outskirts. I haven't been this deep into the spire before.
I've not been inside the halls ever. I've been in the entryway, and that's all at once. I've never been this far in. We're in, what did they call it? The holding cells. That doesn't sound good.
No, it
Wow.
doesn't.
It's always like being a slave is really bad. Wow.
It's so much worse for the Duergar. It's so much worse for the Duergar when they're made slaves. These slaves hate us. If they find the dishonor to be a Duergar slave.
While this is going on,
Yeah.
can I sort of face Niles as if I'm having a conversation with him in Druidic, knowing full well that, yeah. I'm gonna sort of say, just sort of out loud as if I'm talking to someone else, Ember, find a way to pass off the bag of holding so we can at least get our stuff back in case they come back earlier than expected.
Okay, I'm gonna look at him and be like, to the other Duergar, and be like, we need to come up with a plan. We need to utilize these things, these creatures, and figure out a way to get you and I out of this.
Yeah,
So-
if we can somehow like push the blame on them. This was all their fault. They were lying. They were cheating, and they've befuddled the you with your weak minds and.
Can I try saying in Elvish as a little test to see whether or not he understands that, and if we can use that sort of secret team language?
Yeah.
Ugly dwarf fucker.
He does not respond. He keeps talking to Ember.
Lovely. In Elvish, gang, we're inside now. We need to get acting. Do we just dispose of him and be done with this?
Is there any locks that Harry can pick?
Yeah, Harry. I mean, the reason that you've not had all of your stuff taken off you, the reason none of this, because you're still manacled by the necks and you've still got your hands tightly bound as far as they can see. And, I mean, you'd have to be a fucking idiot as someone who's captured you lot to leave you with all of your shit. And it's only at this moment they've started to be suspicious of the situation. They haven't clocked on that they need to take your stuff off you yet, because they thought that Ember was a Duergar who'd captured you. Harry, as you look, there's 2 doors, one to the north, one to the west, both of which are locked.
We can't do anything while he's here. We need to be acting now.
Also in Elvish, I say, aren't we waiting for Obsidian Foot? Isn't he coming to us?
Yes, but he's going to be in these halls. We can just find him ourselves.
You don't want to raise the alarm, though. He'll come with reinforcements.
Oh, there'll be an alarm anyway.
I understand that, but we want to be armed first. I've already taken enough of a beating, and the whole point that you and Lyra made previously was that we didn't want to be in a situation where wings were going to be ripped off.
Sorry, just quickly. On a scale of 1 to 20, how are you feeling? You took a few hits there.
I don't feel good, and I would really like to punch this Duergar.
All right. Sort of while I'm looking around to see if the bag's being distributed and stuff, I'm gonna put a hand on his shoulder and do some cure wounds.
Nice.
Oh no, I'm okay in that point. I just don't feel nice.
But you're out of hit
It's
points.
emotional. It's emotional feels.
Are we
enhance himself?
Is the room like? Are all the doors shut on the room? Like, are we able to just? Okay. I just look at Bart and I'm like, in Elvish, okay, let's kick this off then.
Well, I had a thought. I feel like we're kicking it off in one of 2 directions. Are we going to tell this Duergar the truth as the first one, or are we going to kill this Duergar and escape?
Escape to where?
I don't know, but obviously we might be able to track the layout with Figment's help.
While you're talking,
And can Harry look through the keyholes to the doors to see if there's like guards right on the other side of the door?
yes, you can, Harry.
We
Would you
don't
like
need
to make
too
me?
much noise.
Would you like to make
That's
me a
probably
perception
good,
or
right?
investigation check? As you do so, as you crouch down and begin looking through the keyhole, the Duergar slavers currently trying to
Investigation
talk
with
to,
advantage,
because you've got the
because I have the goggles, but
you've
I'm
got
not
the
wearing
goggles.
them, right? So I'd have to take them out and put them on.
Yeah, you would to get the advantage.
Okay, I'll use perception.
Perfect. While the Duergar slaver is talking to Ember, while Bart, Niles, Threign, Lyra, and Harry are kind of having this conversation, Harry, you duck out to go and look through the keyhole. While this is happening, there's a sudden momentary tremor. Just a brief one. And then another. And then the room begins to shake. You watch as the Duergar slaver looks at you, Ember, and begins crouching down in the corner of the room, holding his arm above his head, clearly not that phased by this, seeming to know exactly what this means. And as the room begins to shake, you hear the sounds of cracking stone from outside. Harry, as you peek through the keyhole, the room to the north is dark. There are no lights. You can't see anything beyond the light behind
I
you.
have dark vision.
You do have
I
dark
have
vision.
Magical dark vision.
If you've got magical dark vision, then I am not going to say the next thing I was about to say.
You have Devil's Sight,
I have the. I took I did
Devil's Sight. Harry, it doesn't matter. You can see Devil's Sight is the one exception to the low light rules that we have, which is like you still need some light because like the way that vision works is you need light to be able to see. That's how vision functions. So dark vision for us is we've changed it a little bit, so it's more like a low light vision. It removes the sensitivity of sunlight, which just makes it really awkward and uncomfortable for those people who want to play like a Drow or a Duergar or a Svefniblin. So we kind of make it more of a low light. The one exception to that rule is if you cast the spell Dark Vision or if you have Devil's Sight. They are the exceptions where you use magic to enhance your senses and use the magic to see. Harry, as you look into the room beyond, you can see that this is definitely some sort of interrogation chamber. In the center of the room, there is a large rack, a wooden construction with leather straps all over it that is covered in layers of dark, dried blood. On the far side of the room, you can see some sort of toolkit laid out across a table. The instruments rusted and of a sharp nature, shall we say. There is currently no one in the chamber, but it's clearly being used frequently.
And it's a dead-end chamber as far as I can see.
The one to the north
keyhole.
just looks like it's just an interrogation chamber. As you look through towards the west,
Will not
you can
be going through that one.
No, that's fair. As you look through towards the west, you can see a much larger room that opens up. You were sort of pushed through this rather roughly, and you didn't get much of a good look at it, but this is part of the larger entry hall. As you look across the room, you can see that there are a number of other Duergar there. One of the elite guards is currently still standing at the doorway in position, and as you look out through this door, throughout the keyhole, that's when the tremor starts timeline-wise, and you watch as all the Duergar in the room immediately begin moving into position, getting themselves set up ready for it. And as they do, you hear a large crack from outside in that room, and you watch as the far door that you walked through, a moment later, after this enormous crack, bursts open. A Duergar, blood running down the side of his head, pushes through and begins calling out in Dwarvish. Part of the lower rung has collapsed. We need strength right now.
As the chaos, because what he's hearing in the door opening, that's outside, right? That's not our cell door.
No, it's outside.
As soon as the cracking begins, almost like a hit happening during fireworks. Niles was keen, and that's good enough for Bart. I'm going to start running to the Duergar that's cowered in the corner.
Fantastic. I will get us into initiative in that case, just because I need to know what's happening. I'm going to keep us on the webcams for Theatre of the Mind, though, just for this bit. Lyra.
Did we get the stuff distributed before we've started this fight?
No, definitely not. Absolutely not. This is a momentary thing that's just happened suddenly. You have not had a chance to distribute out everything that's in Ember's bag of holding.
It's probably fine. Like this is.
Yeah, Niles doesn't need weapons. Niles can beat.
My weapons are right here, baby.
If we can get this guy down during this noise, that's gonna be so helpful.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true.
Alrighty. Could I please have everybody click on your character tokens and then click on initiative?
Well,
this is going to be really, really bad for this Duergar.
Thunder damage. Does that make noise?
Yes, it does.
I assume it does.
It's noise-based. Yeah.
Oh, I rolled a 20.
Holy shit.
And you know what I'm doing.
Yes, please.
I'm aligning your.
Please.
Yeah.
Very
I feel
nice.
like in this moment, this is what Niles. We're very like Niles is already planning this with you. This is very thematic for the moment.
Brilliant.
My frustrations are personal. When it gets to combat, we're in combat.
Yep.
Let me add Let me add your token. For some reason. Come up. So that's a total of natural 20 for 25. Holy shit.
Sure is.
I'll do Threign because I am playing Threign. So let me roll for Threign. Where's Threign's character sheet? There it is. Sorry, it's right down the bottom. That makes sense. It does start with a T. Let's roll for Threign's. Ember, what was your initiative? So we've got
6.
6 from Ember, 10 from Lyra. Bart is now on 25 as well because Niles is going to use his Way of Sympathy Monk Align to move him up. I'll just roll for Threign really quickly, and I'll roll for the Duergar. And then I'll quickly add your token, Harry, and your token, Ember. So Ember, you're right up next to this lad because you were just speaking with him. So Ember, what was yours again? Sorry, you 6. Lyra was 10. Let me change Bart to 25. And is that everyone? Yes, it is.
Let me see the order.
Niles, Bart, Threign, Duergar, Lyra, Ember.
Great.
Brilliant.
Harry in there
yeah,
somewhere
Harry.
as well.
Yes, Harry. What was
Harry as
yours?
well.
I'll just add yours too.
21.
21.
Oh,
yeah.
my token. Then.
This is high as well.
Brilliant.
I was going to ask, Dave, do you have alert as a feat?
No.
Good to know.
If you took
No, I
it,
do not. Not at
you
the
might be even more initiatived. Alrighty. Let's jump in.
Do I
Well,
really need it?
No.
I
Niles,
might be doing that.
you're up first. Your dex is
I
higher
mean-
than Bart's, so let's see this.
You just see Niles in a. As soon as I sort of give the glance over to Bart, and I see Bart starting to move, you just see Niles like very effortlessly, and you can tell like his demeanor has changed a lot. This is very like it's not the flamboyant, dancey sort of almost like theatrical movement of Niles where he's been fighting before with that like sort of way of sympathy flair. It's very methodical. You can tell he's changed a bit, and he just sort of flies over to this Duergar very quickly, and then just kind of like slips out of the tentacles very like, oh, we've been hiding this the whole time, fists free, and he just starts punching this guy. Like, he would, he's going to do unarmed strike, or if it goes through, that'd be cool. Did it go through?
Not yet, but that's okay. You can tell us what it is. Or has it not come up at all?
Oh, I didn't roll at all. Interesting.
Bring the turn order up in a
Is
nice
it
spot. There we
rolling?
go. That was perfect.
Come on.
It doesn't, it's not liking you tonight.
It's not liking me today.
No unarmed strike.
Yeah.
That's a natural 0. It doesn't roll.
No.
But it's also at the same time technically a
Yes,
natural
it was
20.
That's true.
Schrodinger's dice roll at this point. Could be any number.
I'll just manual roll it. That's an 11. Not
That's
great.
an 11. You'd be more than +3, wouldn't you?
+8. So
Oh, you rolled a
I rolled
3
3
plus 8. I was going to say, yeah, that's unfortunate. Niles, an 11 is actually not enough. As you go to punch,
No,
it's not that he gets out of the way. It's not that his armor is strong enough. It's just that as you suddenly leap forwards, you actually catch Ember off guard. And as Ember spins around to look at you, you have to avoid punching Ember as you go for the Duergar. Because currently Ember still looks like a Duergar and you almost
That's
pick the
fine.
wrong target. And it's not until Ember turns towards you and you see the face, you're like, oh no, that's Ember. You have to change the direction of the punch to avoid punching Ember.
Question,
No.
DM, just in case it might help redirect an elbow blow or something. Is he surprised? Do we have advantage on him?
Oh yes, you
Ooh.
would. He is surprised. Absolutely. He did not see this coming. 100%. And he was
Oh,
currently
great.
curled up in the corner of the room. I'll just move him. So,
That's a
Niles, you
nat
rush
20.
forwards.
Ah.
Niles, as you spin around, almost going for Ember and realizing at the last second, oh no, this is Ember, you continue with the momentum, pushing forwards, and the tremor in the room, you use that momentum and that rush, and you leap forwards. As he looks up, the ground uneven underneath him, knocking him around, he can't get his guard up in time, and you get right underneath and jab right into the space between his ribs, right at his breastbone, trying to break it open.
Mortal
Very cool.
Kombat slow, just crack of ribs.
Yeah,
I'm just refreshing my D&D Beyond real quick.
all good. Would you like to roll some damage as
Damage?
well?
Yeah. Let's see if this...
This will be nice spicy damage, I suspect.
It's a 1d8 plus 5.
And then you get 8 plus 8 because it's a crit. So
Yeah.
that's an 8 plus another 8. That's
21.
maximum damage. You've done the most possible damage you could have done with this. That is 21 points of bludgeoning. No, slashing damage because you're using your claws, right? Or
Well, I
bludgeoning
can actually...
damage.
I
You
think I
can
can choose. Well, I can choose. I'm going to use bludgeoning. These are going to be fists.
Sweet as. As you smash into his chest, you hear the crack of the cartilage and bone making up his breastbone, caving underneath the force of your fist.
Oh, very good.
He lets out as you jab
I'm
into
not-
him.
I'm not done. I still have more attacks.
Oh, yeah, I figured.
Cool. Yep.
This is going to be absolutely brutal. And it's this moment, as you rush forward, Niles, the other reason he's surprised is he thought you were bound and manacled. Oh, that's a good point. You are all manacled. Or do you just like pop off the manacles and split the... Yeah, cool. So you're not manacled.
It's good to know. I did say, I think before, like I just sort of
I just need to remember who's not manacled. So Niles is no longer manacled to everybody else. Neither's Harry at this point, if Harry's sort of gone off to go look through the locks. So yeah, Harry's taken his manacle off briefly.
Does the 13 hit?
13 is not quite enough, sorry.
Bonus action flurry of blows.
Bam, bam, bam. Sorry, what's the... No, there's an official sound effect, your flurry of blows makes. That's it, yeah. I love it.
26?
It's definitely going to hit. Yes, definitely.
I'm going to see if I crit.
Ready.
Nope.
26
so
it
we'll
is.
Just roll the damage on that.
Still, 22 is not bad. In any normal situation, we'd be taking the 22.
That's 10.
10 more points of damage. As you crack forwards, you hear another and you watch as blood spurts out, coating the white beard, staining it red.
Very cool.
Alrighty.
Wait, I still got one more hit.
Oh shit, he's still going.
Still going.
This is what happens when a monk unleashes.
That's a 22.
That's definitely going to hit.
For another 11.
Niles. Is this lethal or non-lethal damage?
Oh, I think in Niles' state of mind, it's probably lethal.
How do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Last jab right to the throat, crush the windpipe. I mean, you've broken the breastbone, which has now started to paralyze the muscles around the ribs, preventing him from breathing. Crush the windpipe. He's just going to silently collapse. Or are you trying to keep the blows hidden underneath the clothes so it's not obvious what happened to him?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the final strike right into the same spot, or into the diaphragm even, underneath, cracking in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably shouldn't make these
calculated
as,
about this.
accurately
It's almost
medically.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is like now this is very calculated. It's just very much like run of the mill, like it's every day. I'm just like bang, 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 bang. He just falls over.
Niles, in this moment, your flashback from earlier, remembering that training ground, as you lay in these sudden blows, and there's that cough of blood onto the beard. As you look down, your hand, the one wrapped in the white bandage, you can see some of the blood has stained the back of that white bandage across your hand. As you just unleash these blows into this Duergar, he doesn't even have a chance to cry out. As you crack his ribs, collapse them into his lungs, and he expires slowly on the floor in his own blood.
Well, shall we get on then?
I think so.
Is the earthquake still happening?
The earthquake, that only took 6 seconds. The aftershocks are beginning to die down. And Harry, as you peer through the keyhole, momentarily distracted by Niles unleashing... Actually, maybe you might not even notice this. This happens so quickly and so silently. Harry, you don't even see what's happening in the corner. You're just focused on looking out through the keyhole. Your ears pick up the sounds of like... And you're like, oh,
I basically,
check that in a second.
In the span of 6 seconds, I just ran up to someone and like did 4 hits on them, and then they just fell over.
Yeah.
And that's all he's saying.
Harry trusts. Harry knows what happens in his mind. He's got theater of the mind. He doesn't even have to turn his head.
Exactly.
Very cool.
As you look through the keyhole, Harry, you can see a number of the Duergar that are in that room. A couple of them begin to rush out, and you watch as the guard against the room holds up her hand and says in Dwarvish, "No, stop. One of the prisoners was some giant kin. He is strong enough. Fetch him."
Oh, Harry turns around straight away and says in Elvish, "They're coming in."
Pretend to be chained.
And runs to his manacle.
I turn my whole body away to like kind of block the body that is on the ground and just sort of try to hide the body.
I would love a stealth check from Niles in that case, please.
That's great. I actually am not bad at stealth. Let's go.
Can everyone stand in front of him?
We're all chained together.
Yeah.
As I'm putting on my chain, Ember, prop him as if he's like in a fetal position in the corner.
Sure.
He's already somewhat in that sort of like crouched position, right? So we can just make it look like he's like scared of the earthquake.
Hey, quick! Either way, they're opening the door in a second.
I'll head on over and give that a go.
Perfect. As you all rush forwards, Threign sort of grumbles and moves towards you with the manacle around his neck. He like goes and like reaches forward, gives Harry his manacle, like hands out the manacle over towards Bart, hands Niles his. The earthquake was fun for a moment, but I was hoping that I would get to punch the stupid dwarf. Maybe next dwarf. And at that moment,
you'll get your chance.
At that moment, you watch as the door opens. You watch as the elite guard steps into the room, masked face turning towards you. Behind her, you can see 4 other Duergar. Yes, Ember.
So I really did want to do this earlier because I didn't know. Which way did the door open?
Opened outwards, away from you guys. Opened outwards, towards them.
Is there anything on the door? Like, is there any kind of latch or anything on the inside of the door, like that's attached, or any
there's latches on both sides, and then there's a keyhole between the middle. So it's a very sturdy wooden door that's been braced with iron bands, and it has an iron keyhole.
100%. If someone was walking to the door coming in, and I've got a dead body there, I've got my immovable rod. I would have been putting that in something to try and stop them opening the door.
Okay, so the door opens outwards away from you.
That's what I was asking. If there's anything that I could have chucked it in.
Make me an investigation check, please, Ember.
Right? It's like in the horror movies where you put.
Yeah, because damn, I wish I had now described the door opening inwards. But the door, from a prisoner perspective, you can't have a door open inwards. It's too much easier to block, and it has to open outwards so that you can't stop it opening. 12. Ember, as you look at the door and begin sort of peering, desperately looking for a way to use the immovable rod here. Unfortunately, you can't find an area. Like, the hinges are really well aligned. This room is meant to contain prisoners. It doesn't look like it's going to be very easy to do something to sabotage the door, unfortunately. Damn, that's a really good idea, though. And keep that one in your back pocket, because this door might not be suitable for that. But, I mean, any door that opens in the direction of the immovable rod, you just hold it against the door and press the button, and that door's not opening. That's it. Like, that's a good one to keep in mind. For example, if you were to get yourselves into a certain office, Ember, you saw the door to that room opened inwards towards the office.
Yeah, I was going to say that's later, but yeah, thought I'd try it now.
No, good call, absolutely. Not this door, but there will be more doors. One does not simply walk into more door, but there will be more doors for you to do this too. As the stone guard, the shield, steps in and points towards Threign, you hear her call out, "You, big folk. You're needed. The rest of you stand back, hold still." And you watch as 2 of the Duergar behind her, 2 of the 4 march into the room and begin walking over to Threign. As they go to like, they see the manacle around his neck, they kind of pause, and you watch as one of them turns towards you, Ember, currently in Duergar form, and looks at the other Duergar currently in the fetal position on the floor. You watch as one of them, they sort of look at the 2 Duergar and go, "He's got the key. He's got the key to this."
I'm assuming I have some form of keys or something like that in my pocket.
Yeah, you guys just haven't locked them, but you have a key for the manacles, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I will reach around and grab that, because I'm assuming I would have taken it at least.
Yeah. No, you guys have the manacles with you already, so the key comes with it.
I'm gonna unlock it and be like, "Is there anything that I can do to assist? I mean, I'm here to serve the Duergar, the people, the Obsidian Foot."
You watch as the 2 Duergar sort of like watch you unlock the manacle, hear your speech. You watch as they nod, and one of them goes, "Hey, there is something you can do. Something to help you redeem yourself."
What do you need me to do?
He reaches out and goes to take the key from you. They don't want you with the key. They can't let you have the key to the manacles.
I'll give him the key. It doesn't make a difference to me.
He takes the key.
They never asked for it to begin with.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Well, because like this has all been pretty like in the moment, things happening quite quickly. So yeah.
The best part with this as well is the only person that actually had their binds and manacles actually locked
was Threign.
It's going to look like that he's actually in prisoner. And because we didn't pull out any items for the fight, we're still completely unarmed.
Yes, you are.
Yep.
Absolutely. You watch as they take the key. You watch as one of the Duergar looks at the slave of Duergar with a broken hand on the ground, currently hunched over, and in Dwarvish, those who speak Dwarvish hear him say, "Fucking coward," and spits on his body, and then marches out of the room. Threign in tow. You watch as Threign sort of turns around, looks back at you lot, and goes, "Oh, do I need to do this?"
Yeah, I'll turn to the Duergar as well. Be like, "Can I come? Can I assist?"
No, you're in here. You're in here. Why is he in here? You watch they turn back towards the stone guard. She pauses for a moment, the mask inscrutable, and goes, "His story is not adding up. He must speak to Obsidian Foot." Which is that one of them turns towards you, shrugs, and goes, "Sorry, mate. If you've not done anything wrong, we'll yes, please, we'd like your help if you're willing to help us out. One of the braces has fallen off the main tower. Got to get it back up quickly."
Threign, go and show them how strong the surface welders are.
Oh. You watch as Threign pauses for a moment and goes, How many of you will take to make this brace steady? There's a moment of pause. Watch the Duergar sort of look at each other, look up at him and go, 12, 13? You only need one of me. I am worth 13 or 14 of you. Maybe 15 even. And with that, Threign turns and begins marching out. Quite proud of himself. As he looks back, he nods at each of you and then does a little wink and then follows them out of the room.
Cool.
You watch as the stone guard doesn't move an inch, staring at all of you, and then the mask again, looking down at the Duergar on the ground, unmoving. And then she pauses for a moment and then turns around and walks back out, closing the door behind her, clicking the lock back into place, leaving you alone inside the room once again.
Owen, we did want. I'm assuming this was where you're hoping to part off Threign, because I was going to try and keep him in longer, but that.
Thank you. This was
Okay,
your actions nullified all of my ideas of how to deal with Threign. So I have had to come up with another in the moment on the fly.
Cool. I was thinking the same as Simon just then. I was like,
yeah,
we letting this happen. But it's definitely a. Yeah.
And the thing is, right, Threign is a big boy. He is very strong. As a slave, as a servant, they're not going to fuck with him. And you know, importantly as well, there was a concern when you first entered. There was a concern when they saw Threign and went, well, you he's giant, aren't they going to react? There's going to be something wrong here. You get the distinct impression there's going to be two things they're absolutely going to be doing with Threign. One is keeping him away from the stone giants. The other one is keeping him alive. He's useful, very useful. He's a big fucking boy. They don't know yet that he can get even bigger. When they find that out, I wonder if Threign would use his Rage of the Giants to just lift the whole thing back up and put it back in. He might. He probably would.
Might do that.
As soon as the door closes, after maybe a moment, I'm gonna take everything off and rush to Ember. Okay, we need to, whatever we're doing, needs to start now before one of us gets put on a rack or we get separated any further. I'm going to hold my hands out for my stuff.
Harry's going straight back to the keyhole from the sounds of things, Harry.
Yeah. Yep, I want to see how many are left in the room.
I'll keep you updated as that number changes, but at the moment, looks like only 4.
Okay. So I'll hand out the stuff to the people, to everyone, their things. And then, Harry, was it you that originally was holding the bag of holding?
You've each got one.
I have one, but I think it went into the other bag.
Sorry, did you put a bag of holding into a bag of holding?
No.
I think
someone else was
in the other bag of holding.
I need to know if that happens.
No. I have it.
Okay.
I have mine. Niles had the other, but we put it on.
That's what it was. Okay, I was giving it back to Niles.
Sure.
So I'll say, look, I can stay in this form if they want to try and take me to the main office of Obsidian Foot, but I don't think they're going to take the rest of you with me at this stage. It sounds like.
How much longer do you stay in that form? You've been in it a while.
Yeah,
I was going to double check. I was going to say we had 25 minutes at the end of the last session, so I'm assuming.
Ember, it's been hard to keep track of time with everything that's been happening, but you think You've got
Moments.
minutes at best. You've got minutes left of this before it fails.
Okay. So I'll share that. My illusion is only going to last for maybe moments. So if they come back into this room again, I don't know if it'll hold up. So
That's
I
fine.
can get us out of this room if you want to. Well, we don't have to break locks or anything like that. I can get us out. But
It's going to be too difficult getting through the hallways. I feel like we use the last minutes of this to take another one by surprise.
so do you want to get one of those guards into this room? The elite guards? Okay. Good.
Please stand help.
You guys, these 4 outside, and where are they placed in the room? Like,
It's hard to
how
see.
close is the closest one?
It's hard to see, Harry, because as you can see on the thing here, there's the doorway doesn't open straight onto the room. There's a very small hallway, and so your view is quite severely restricted. But what you can see is the elite guards standing to attention near the doorway, and beyond that, far away from the stone bench, you can see 2 more Duergar sitting at a seat, and another one pacing the room. But there could be
And
more.
Harry,
This room's
he
much bigger.
Very, listen with his massive ears.
For sure. Do you want to make me another perception or investigation check, Harry?
Yeah.
I'm going to get towards the side of the door, ready to ambush.
Hang on.
21, Harry. It's not just the sounds of the Duergar talking amongst themselves in Dwarvish, which you can understand. With a 21, Harry, you can hear voices approaching, speaking in common. One of the voices you've heard
Sound
before.
like an Owlin?
One of the voices you've heard before. It's the dark, gravelly voice of Obsidian Foot. He seems to be talking to another voice, a bit higher, and you can hear the sound of claws scratching against stonework, a noise you've gotten very used to hearing traveling with Bart and Niles. This is the conversation that you overhear with your 21, Harry. Coming along
guys,
quick. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you go.
Guys, sorry. So you were about to. Okay, yeah. You can go.
Coming along quite nicely. So far, we've got over 19 of the breastplates and wing guards ready. The rest of the order will be filling out shortly.
I just sigh.
As Harry, I'm guessing Harry's kind of like relaying this to you guys.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
It's up to you. You don't have to, Dave. If you want to keep this to yourself.
No. I was just thinking if that was like a quicker way to do it, but yeah, Harry's just repeating it in Elvish.
Perfect.
Looks like
Yeah, nice. You go.
Harry wants to offer Niles the goggles. Maybe he can use it as like a disguise to get himself a quick moment so she doesn't recognize him.
I refuse the goggles.
Okay, fair enough.
The goggles would hide your eyes, but I would say as an owl, your eyes are probably the least identifying part of you. Your feather patterns
those
being
silly
by
glasses.
far...
To the patterns on an owl, and I imagine are like a fingerprint. They're like very identifiable.
very unique. Even Bart, who is a snowy owlin, his feathers, while mostly white, there are some that have little speckles of grey and brown tinges through them. The face, the way that your feathers around your face form the patterns. There's a little sort of off center bit right in the very middle that pokes up a little bit, almost like a little tuft of hair. Every owl and every Aarakocra, the patterns and the distribution of feathers is a little bit unique.
I just
Lyra,
let out a sigh.
I can see you're
I'm trying to
casting some
relax.
spells. Would you like to take us through your spells?
Oh shit!
So expecting that stuff's probably gonna be going
Fucking
down.
throwing magic around left, right, and center
Yeah,
here.
she's just like, okay, got the focus back, got the quarterstaff in hand. Let's do this. And so I'm gonna pop a few things. First one is comprehend languages, which is something that I've picked up with the 2024 reroll.
Perfect.
So that I can understand stuff that's going on around us now.
Yep.
The other ones were
Very nice.
pulling Tim the second out of the bag of holding and hoping that he's still somewhat intact.
As you pull him out, you watch as he looks up, goes, and then clambers out the rest of the way the bag of holding on his own.
Come on, it's better than walking, mate.
He shuffles
Animate dead
very
a
slowly.
second time on the now dead Duergar. So now there's 2 Duergar Spore Servants.
Well, one spore servant, one zombie, basically. So the spore servant's a special one. That's like a unique feature with the myconid spores that you use to reanimate. Yes.
Okay. In that case, I think they might both be zombies then, because I've just used the spell slot for it.
Oh, that's fine. If you wanna stick to that, you can just use the spell slot for zombies. Up to you.
Yeah. Because I think the fungal infestation is a 1 point zombie that has to die within immediately within me.
Yeah.
Within like
a certain range
10
of
feet
you.
or something.
Did you want to have done it to him when he died within range of you before, and then just order the zombie to lie down prone? I'm happy to retcon that if you'd like. Okay.
Absolutely.
How long do you have your spore servants?
It's reaction based.
How long do you have it for?
And spore servants are until they're dead, but they only have 1 hit point.
That's okay. Still, did you want to summon him as a zombie then? Kind of sounds like maybe he'd be better as a zombie if you've got the time to cast the spell. It is a minute to cast, so maybe it is worth doing him as a zombie. Have a little bit of a think.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Now let's go one of each. One of each. Okay, so you pull Tim 2 out of the bag of holding, and then as you have already released the magic as Niles destroyed this Duergar, as you look over, you watch as the fungus has finished growing across its body, taking control, and as it slowly spins around and looks up, you can see this bracket fungus growing out of its face. No, growing out of the shattered chest, this blooming fungus that started to emerge across the body, these mycelium tendrils growing up, part of them growing up the face towards the blood that had come out of the mouth, having like grown through towards the source. I'm imagining it's all sort of a blood red, similar to sort of the anatomical models of like the capillaries of the blood vessels and like the lungs and stuff. Sort of that's the area has been crushed. So it's like
yikes.
Gone out.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty.
And
but
then,
Lyra.
Two more.
Oh my god. So keep in mind, it's a minute to cast. Oh no, sorry, it's a reaction to create the zombie, the fungal spore servant zombie. Yep. You're pulling him
6
out of the bag of holding.
seconds
That's probably like, I'd say, a minute to get him out of the bag of holding. Like open up the bag, help pull him out. What else are you doing at this time? Because our time is limited, definitely. Comprehend languages is
summon
that's an
Fae.
action, 6 seconds. Summon Fae. What would you like to summon? Oh, actually, no. I think I roll for it, don't I?
I think you choose. Hang
Choose a
on,
mood. Fuming, mirthful,
Yeah.
or tricksy. The creature resembles a Fae
He's
creature
gonna be
of your
tricksy.
choice. Tricksy Fae creature. And
Tricksy Fae creature.
what would you like it to resemble? You get to pick its appearance.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I think
Like a mirthful satyr, almost like a spiritual pan.
Is it mushroom themed as well?
yeah, it's gonna be psilocybin themed. I think.
Yeah.
Like, so just sort of I'm imagining like a little sort of cherubic sort of pixie kind of thing, like what you'd imagine. Like he's got the cute little mushroom hat, but the mushroom is kind of the weird shaped of the bruised blue psilocybe, and I don't know, maybe he's just sort of donned in sort of that same bruised blue coloring.
You go to cast Summon Fae. You picture in your mind exactly what you want. One of the community NPC summons fits so perfectly here. We're going to substitute your Fae creature for the NPC summon. As you go to cast this spell, Lyra, you begin connecting to the magic of the Fae, the magic of the mushrooms that you've been growing and cultivating, the mycelium magic. You feel this sudden moment of resonance. And as the magic begins to pour from you, it twists and spirals. And you feel yourself immediately begin to lose control of it. The magic pulling away from you, the tethers of weaves snapping one by one as you feel the magic take on a life of its own. This is a big thank you to Obscenities for this NPC summon. As the magic twists and turns, you watch as it begins to spiral together, this green vortex of energy that all of you can see. And as it begins to merge in on itself, collapsing into position, you watch as a hand suddenly pushes its way out of this spiraling vortex. Elvish hand.
Lyra?
That's a bit bigger than I expected. I think I may have had a bit of a speak with dead moment again.
Oh no.
As the hand pushes through the vortex, you hear a voice calling out, a little help, please.
Yeah, sure, why not? Reaches in, grabs him by the elbow, like predator handshake, and goes to try and pull him.
Right, yeah.
As you grab the hand, you watch as the figure emerges from this spiraling vortex of green, and as they turn around, they dust themselves off. Before you stands an Eladrin, a male, dressed in fine clothes, very, very delicate, almost androgynous-like features. You can see that he has these very, very bright, eager eyes, clearly intelligent and clearly very, very, I would say, like, taking this moment to kind of take in his surroundings as he looks around. As he sees you, Lyra, you watch as he kind of like does a very dramatic double take. Rubs his eyes very dramatically, looks and goes like,
You
well,
certainly don't look like a tricksy fae.
well, looks can be deceiving. I have been known to be tricksy, and my music has been described as otherworldly, so I fulfill.
Okay, we're short on time. Whoever you are.
This isn't probably the best time to be popping on in. What's your name? Sorry?
As like the rest of us are putting on armor and getting weapons out.
You have the pleasure of meeting Dewey Gonabrook, Eladrin Bard and Fey Wanderer.
Okay.
I should add, he has short green hair. There's the faint smell of cinnamon about him. Just as he stands there. And as he's like looking around, he sees the zombies on either side of you, Lyra, goes, oh my. And taking in the stock of all of you getting armed, manacles on the floor. Oh dear. Where am I?
We're about to murder some Duergar.
In the middle of a prison break.
Oh, I don't love blood. As he sees the zombie with the mycelium growing through.
Is he holding a weapon?
No, none that you can see.
I'm gonna...
I don't think Matt was expecting this.
No!
I had something in mind to introduce this character because Obsidian summoned this character a couple of sessions ago, and I was like, this is a very specific character. I need to bring him in at a specific time. It's hard to kind of bring him in unless there's a reason for it. Lyra trying to summon Faye is the best reason, and it's so funny.
I'm about to have a fucking confrontation with my rival. Like, it's neck do or die. Rook, whatever his name is, just decides to pop into existence.
I'll pass him one of my hand crossbows.
Holy shit.
Get ready, and I'm just going to push it into his chest.
Oh, I prefer longbows myself. I have mine with me, which is he pulls out a tiny, like toy bow, claps his hands, and it pulls into a massive longbow as he basically like summons it large and goes, does anyone have any arrows?
No, not on.
Oh, luckily I do. Claps his hands again. You watch as he pulls forth arrows from his back.
Let me just stand out in the corner there. This isn't your fight.
Oh, is there anything exciting to see in the corner?
Another dead body.
More skeletons.
Oh, I really don't like blood. Very well.
Probably won't really like where we are. This is a Duergar slave encampment. In the bottom of the Underdark.
You do know it's pronounced Duergar, right?
Do not have time to negotiate grammar and vocabulary with him. Ember, are you ready?
Is there anything else anyone's doing while this goes off?
Yeah, there was stuff I was. I know that. Yeah, you had some more, Ali.
Pop and
Sorry,
Shillelagh.
Okay. And then Swampy.
Yeah, perfect.
You're just like summoning an army. You're like, all right.
For more summons things, I'm going to use my once a day Kong Chi and summon him in here. But assuming some of the Duergar are going to try to flee, and I want to stop that. I know Kong Chi has the ability to sort of grab people by the ankles and knock them down. And
there's only one minor problem that you immediately notice with this room, Bart. It's that the doorways are dwarf-sized. Kong Chi is not going to be able to fit through the doorways.
Yeah.
This whole room's dwarf-sized. You guys are kind of crouching. Those of you over sort of about 5.5, 6
have
feet.
a held action to
do that. Yeah, and then when you can cast him out in the open, do that. I think, yeah, because I'm not going to be a dick. It's like, yeah, you summon him in the room. How's he getting out through the doorway, Christian? No, you immediately know, it's going to be tricky. So do you want to hold an action when you get a chance?
Yeah. I was going to use a bonus action as well, but I need him summoned to sort of connect because it touch spells and spells that target yourself can also target the steed. But I'll leave that for now. I'll have a held action to
Perfect.
Summon Kong-Chi. Yeah.
Brilliant. Harry, there's still more of the conversation you get to hear too. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to confirm that even the future conversation I'm hearing, they're coming to the cell that we're in, right? Or they're not just walking past.
You're not sure of that. You can hear them talking and you can hear the sounds getting closer, but you're not sure they're actually coming to the cell at all, Harry.
Oh, that'd be even funnier.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt everyone, but like, I just said that I hear their voices.
Wait, no, they're not coming to the cellar.
Let me listen more, and Harry listens.
Well, would they still be chatting? Because we've been here
only about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
not been that long.
Are they talking just for 10 minutes?
Well, it sounds like Obsidian Foot had to come up from upstairs. He's just come up from downstairs. Probably. I mean, you know that this is a busy Duergar Christian, busy Duergar Bart who has to oversee a lot of pain and misery that he personally meters out and delegates to his chosen few. It's possible he's only just started talking to this figure because she was upstairs. You know the Owlin was upstairs. You know he was downstairs. It's very possible they have just arrived, like they've just met, and the conversation is starting as he's on his way to his office.
Wait, so the voice isn't a Duergar, it's Obsidian Foot.
Harry immediately recognizes it as Obsidian Foot. You've heard his voice before, Harry, through the potion of clairvoyance, through Bart's potion of clairvoyance. You know what his voice sounds like. I'm going to say that's an easy one for you to recognize.
That is frustrating.
Yeah.
I think it's very in keeping with your characters, though, especially Lyra, that like Harry goes, I hear voices, and she just lets out everything. So casting every spell immediately, like grabs the bag of grabs the bag of holding, like shakes the bag of holding until one of the zombies sort of falls out and lands on the ground. She like kicks him up, goes like, come on, and it summons a dude who hates blood.
Everything that Lyra did was permanent, correct? Other than Shillelagh.
Yeah, so the summon Fae, I believe, lasts for normally it lasts for an hour.
Is it going to last that long? Because he just pulled himself out of a fucking demi-plane?
That's a good question. You guys don't know. That's a very good question. You're not sure.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is if we don't have anything timed and I didn't summon Kong-Chi.
No. Animate Dead's permanent, so they're knocked down, so she's good. Ali is still with us. She's just turned
Harry's hearing.
She's back.
If we're still hearing Obsidian Foot and this rival of yours, I'm going to look like between Ember and Harry. Do we want to wait, I guess, until they leave? I'm not sure.
It sounds like they're walking and talking. It sounds like they're coming kind of in this direction. So, like, maybe they might even pass the door. I don't know that they're not coming to the seal. But,
are we ready to have that final confrontation now? I'm just assuming we try to make our way to his office.
The door is locked currently, the one that they're walking past, so they're going to have to take time to unlock it. Flicker's here. I'm going to stand next to this other door at the
towards the north, the torture room.
Yeah, the north room. But I can get us all into this other room really quickly. Harry, if they come to unlock this door, if we all stay around here, I'll bring us all into this other room, put the rod down, and we'll keep us barricaded in here until we want to find another way out.
I think that sounds good.
Harry had a couple questions. How, from his experience on being a merchant, how hard would this lock be to pick?
Lock that's designed to keep prisoners from escaping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or is it just bolted from the other side?
It doesn't look like it's bolted. You heard the sound of a key clicking in a lock both times when they opened the door. So definitely locked. Whether there's also a bolt, you didn't hear one being lashed into place. You didn't hear one being dropped. So you don't think the door's bolted. In terms of how difficult the lock looks, as you examine it, Harry, still listening out. I'll give you a bit more of the conversation in a moment. It looks like it's a fairly good lock. The dwarves, the Duergar, it looks like they know their craftsmanship. This is going to be a pretty tricky lock to pick.
Oh, the old AM19. I'm not very good at this lock. How tall is the ceiling? How high is the ceiling?
It's about sort of 5'8". So those of you who are over that are crouching a bit underneath.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not very tall.
Yeah.
Even in the other room, in the hall?
The whole way. This is a space made for Duergar. You're no longer in the giant part of the city. This is very much the Duergar controlled part of the city.
Yeah, okay. Here he listens and communicates to the team what he's hearing.
You hear more of the conversation as the voices begin to move closer. So far, you'd only heard Obsidian Foot speaking.
Yeah, some more of the more of the armor coming along for the wing guards, but you've got to understand, this metal's hard to work with, and we had some problems, but I anticipate those have been mostly dealt with.
You then hear a second voice, Harry. One a bit higher, almost a bit musical in the way that it speaks. Melgrim, I am growing rather tired of your excuses. We made a bargain, a deal. A pact not so easily broken. I understand the difficulties of working with the metal. But you understood those as well when you agreed to the numbers that we are paying you for. Produce what we have bargained for, and there will be no more unpleasantness. What's more, is there any news on Bartholomew?
Actually, that's the next thing I was going to say. We've recaptured him. I've personally seen to it, made sure that he is been brought ready for your perusal, if you wished.
No. I would like to see him, but I don't think I would want him to see me. It is important he does not understand what has happened here. But you're keeping him here?
Yes, of course.
I may still need him, Melgrim. This plan of mine. I need him alive and well enough to speak.
Yes, I understand.
No more cutting off of body parts. Do I make myself clear?
Crystal.
Good. Well, if you could find some way to blindfold him or chain him up, I will examine him later. Make sure that he is mostly intact and has not been damaged during his escape. And you won't let him escape again, will you? It's at this point, Harry, you see them step into view, walking up towards the door that you are currently hidden behind.
Harry signals to the others that they're in view.
Well, about that, we actually caught another
Another what?
Owlin with him.
Who is this Owlin? None of my kind should be down here.
We haven't had a chance to interrogate him yet, but it is the next point of order.
It's Owlin. Any distinctive markings? Clothing that he wore that would identify him to me?
Oh, fuck.
He's a fucking bird wearing black and white. I don't know what to tell you.
Harry, you watch as she pauses for a moment, nods slowly. I would like to see this Owlin too.
Of course. Yes.
Yes. Make sure it's not someone who could be problematic. Yes. And what about the rest of the armor? You haven't been prioritizing your own efforts over ours, have you?
No. The armor that we're working on for our assaults on Balmia. Taking a pause while we finish your order first.
Good. Well, please, don't let me stop you or slow you down. Some refreshments might be in order. It's been a long flight.
Right this way.
Harry, you watch as Obsidian Foot gestures not towards your door, but somewhere else, down towards the southeast. And as they walk past, you see them head out of sight, moving away from the keyhole. And as their voices begin to drift away, you hear the clinking of Obsidian Foot fade away into the distance.
What name did she call him?
Melgrim. Melgrim. Melgrim.
And he called her Boymir?
No, he didn't call her any name.
Okay, I misheard. Okay.
I'm going to turn to Niles. So your family's always been like this, you said?
Well, not always. Not arms dealing. That's a new low, even in my opinion. But, I mean, I'm not privy to all the information that happens in the family, so... I mean, it's possible that they've done this in the past, but not that I'm aware of.
Can I do an insight check on Niles?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. In the corner, Lyra, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder, and as you turn around, you see the Eladrin standing there. Do we? And as he sort of nods, he's like, excuse me, it's very rude that I've not introduced myself properly in a way that you felt compelled to introduce yourselves back to me. Let me try again. My name is Dewey Gonabrook, Fey Wanderer and Bard Extraordinaire.
Oh, Lyra, Fey, where I'm stuck? I don't have a last name, but I'm back here now. You're from the Feywilds.
Yes, of course. Lyra. It's an unusual name. I feel like I've heard it before somewhere. Do we...
You weren't one of the folks hunting me down, were you?
Hunting you down? What? Who are you? He looks around. Are you a villain?
Looking around, we are locked in jail. Manacles. Recently armed ourselves. Multiple zombies from recently dead bodies.
Yeah, Lyra, as he asks that question, it seems like a fucking dumbass question to ask.
Despite appearances, surprisingly no. Technically I owe a favor, but
Are you sure?
I'd rather not.
Most savoury characters don't travel with the undead. And you
Never
appear
said I
to
was
have
a savory character.
you appear to have cultivated some form of mushrooms in that chest cavity. In the chest cap on him.
Really? You wandered around the Feywilds for long enough and you never ran across the Myconids?
I avoided them actively.
Why? They're friendly. They're cool.
They grow on dead things. Dead things.
Everything is made of dead things.
I'm sorry, what? Yes. Nice.
I just kind of like, I'm having a very, very tense conversation with Bart right now. I'm kind of just like looking at Bart, and I look over at this guy who's talking in the corner. I'm like, Niles, said the wind. Normally I would be a lot more excited to meet someone from the Feywild, but kind of got a bit of a situation here. Look, I didn't think that this would be something that Nyx would stoop to do, Bart. I haven't really had much to do with the family much at all. I've only recently come back into contact. I'm not much of a merchant, you know that. This is all a bit much.
Bart,
what's going
18
on?
for your insight check.
The question from before being around like
Is he telling the truth about
is he
this?
telling the truth? Does he not actually know that his family's been sort of up to this?
But
Hmm.
Niles, it's not a lie what he's saying, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Niles doesn't seem like there's an element of surprise here, and then an element of resignation, as if this isn't that out of character, as if he was expecting the worst in this situation, as if he has time and time again hoped that the answer would be different, and it hasn't been. And
Yeah.
there's like a resignation there. There was a moment of surprise, and then I would say resignation took over. And what's more,
Going to,
there's an emotional response here too. There is some deep history between Niles and Nyx that he is. It's very much got Niles off balance.
I'll take a step back from, like, away from you, Niles. So, if your family's involved in this way, making moves like this, and your assumption is that they're trying to do the coup that you and me had planned, maybe something that the family has been working to for a while. Harry just mentioned they need me alive and need my voice. I know how politics work. What if my father has loved me this entire time? What if my family has loved me this entire time, and your family are the people that abducted me?
I hope that's not the case, but then again, I don't know what to say to that. We've always been a support. The Silverwinds have always been supporters of the royal family. You know this.
We question why a war hasn't come for so long. What if my dad has been stopping the Aarakocrans and Owlins from war, and your crazy fucking uncle is trying to spur it on?
It's not my uncle. It's Titus, the head of the family. My uncle is a peacekeeper. He's been trying to have a say in what happens at the family. But Titus he works in mysterious ways. Nyx is the daughter of Titus, right? Nyx is trying to forge her own path. Titus has been holding the balance for some time. If Nyx is trying to make a move on the family, it's to either take over, which would be to dispose of Titus, which there is a history of that, but I don't think she'd be going after the royal family. That's never happened before. Internal politics, sure, that has happened in the past, but normally it's handled in-house. This is a bit unusual for me. But like I said, it was all too much for me. But that's why I turned my back on them years ago.
Okay, maybe she's just taking advantage of the situation. I don't really know what.
Look, to be perfectly honest, the fact that she's here, the fact that she could be planning something, I'm a bit worried about my uncle. Just to tell you the truth, he was my only real ally I had in the family, and if she's here and she's pulling this sort of maneuver, I don't know if I don't know how he's going to be, if he's laying low or escaped himself.
It's also so ugly, removing beauty from the equation. Owlin wearing metal heavy armor, they're not going to be able to fly with that.
Well, we know that the metal is quite thin. Did you not see it on the elite guard that we just saw?
Well, I've worn the chest piece myself, haven't I?
Not quite the same material. It was an enchanted breastplate, but it wasn't made of the enriched alloy.
Okay.
But, I mean, you guys have them implanted into your hands. There's no weight to it at all. There's a little bit of weight from the gem that you can feel, but the metal itself feels almost slightly weightless. And the pieces that Niles was carrying around, it's about as heavy as aluminium. It's incredibly lightweight, but much, much stronger.
But what you say makes sense. I mean, what if your family aren't behind this? And the Silverwinds did all this as leverage? Not that I would think that they would stoop to that level, but clearly I've underestimated my own family.
They're in charge of communication, so look, it could be true, because if I was taken, why my family didn't come after me? What if they've just spun a story like all the other news articles? I don't know. Look, I'm going to look back to the rest of the group. I still think we need to get moving. Harry, you said that they've gone to some sort of like a food chamber, waiting room?
You're muted, Dave.
You're muted.
They just headed off down a corridor that you can't see down.
Yeah, they went that way, and he points southeast.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I feel like now is when we want to try to make our way to his office, find the soul coin, find the treasure, find the weapon. There's a lot of things in there, and then I guess we wait for him to return.
I think that sounds good.
How quietly does Harry think he could pick that lock? Because there's a guard standing right next to the door, isn't there?
Yeah, literally one of the elite soldiers standing right outside the door. It's going to be tough, Harry.
Do we want to pick the lock, or do we want to convince the guard to get into the room? I'm saying that to the group.
Oh yeah, Harry was just looking. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm good, but I don't think I'm yet good.
We could create a distraction. And I look over at the bard.
He gives you a little wave.
They don't know he's here. Could use him to our advantage.
I mean, they also don't know Flicker's here. I can summon him outside the door and get him to run down the hallway if you want to. Or I mean, as long as I can see through a keyhole, I can get us to the other side with Flicker as well. I mean,
whatever we do, we just don't want to raise too much of an alarm. We just want to try and get this one inside.
Exactly.
Is there any other way that Harry can see that would be to get out of the room? It doesn't look like there's a window by the drawing.
No windows,
The
definitely
top
no
room
windows.
said was a dead end.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that's been in here that's tried to break out by digging through the wall, maybe like on the southern wall or the eastern wall?
Do you want to do a bit of a
Under the
look around the
table?
room for maybe like a hidden
Yeah.
passage or for any efforts that people have made to
There's a
escape?
fireplace even.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Have a look at the fireplace.
Yep, under the table, under the pot. Yeah. What was it? Investigation? Is it? Or
Investigation.
perception? Or?
Or perception. As you have a
Can I
bit of
do
a
some-
look.
Helping him look around or anything.
Perception.
Gonna help him out? Yeah. Harry, you've
As
got
he's-
advantage
as
on
this
this.
is happening, can I walk over to Dewey?
Yeah.
Really 20.
I haven't introduced myself, and I'm not really sure if I want to. Lyra brought up something, and these are new friends. I'm a bit off-put with Niles, but I still consider Niles my friend. What did Lyra mean about being hunted? You don't mean us harm, do you?
He like looks around very, very like over the top and then points to himself and then goes, Who me? No. No. You called me here.
Insight
Well,
check.
she called me here.
Insight check. I want to make sure that he didn't force
Yeah.
himself through whatever
Sure.
magic she was using.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Very coincidental, the first time she opens up a portal to the Feyrealm, someone that's not a intended comes through.
Lyra, in this moment as you say those words, there's something very important you've just realized. Planar travel into and off Nostea outside of like summoning spiritual aspects was not possible because of the giants disappearing. You should not have been able to summon someone from the Feywild. You should not have been able to do that. Certainly, a Fey spirit that can manifest itself partly in this realm, that's not that bad. He is fully here, and he pulled himself through that as if it was a portal or a crack. In this moment, you suddenly remember this should not have happened.
Dewey, out of curiosity, were you in the Feywild before you came here? As in, through this portal specifically? Where were you on the other side before you stepped through? And why did you step through?
Oh, I was enjoying a lovely drink by the one of the beautiful brooks down in the Emerald Glaive. Yeah, in the Feywilds, yes. Is this a portal, is it?
It wasn't supposed to be.
It's your magic, my dear. Why are you looking at me? 14, but I mean, there's definitely a performative aspect to how he's talking and how he's behaving. 100%. Like he is the whole like looking around and then he knew that you were talking to him. He's hamming it up 100%. But I mean, when you ask like, do you mean us any harm? He does seem a bit surprised by that question. And when he sort of goes, well, you summoned me here. He does seem to be telling the truth. You don't get any signs of deception from him. But he's a performer.
Fucking bard, though. He's a performer.
performer.
I've seen enough jesters in the noble courts. Look, I've got ways of getting spell slots back. We've got a minute where everyone's looking for a way to get out.
Yeah.
I am just going to come closer. My name is Bartholomew. Will you let me test if you are telling the truth or not? We're going to assist you, and you're not going to be left here to your own devices, abandoned in the Underdark.
Oh, please no.
Okay, then simply let me in. And I'm going to
He,
place a hand
he
on his
leans
chest.
in as you say that and goes, with pleasure.
Arm on his
I
chest and
consent.
a band of, or a wash of white magic will go across his chest. Everyone technically will be affected to it, so it's up to you guys if
Zone
you
of
want to
truth.
resist. Yeah, zone of truth, because it's going to affect everyone within a 15-foot radius, which is basically the entire chamber.
It's the whole room.
Will you know if we resist?
I know if people have passed or failed. It's up to you if you want to try to resist.
Harry resists.
Niles doesn't resist.
Lyra doesn't bother. She's sitting on the table kicking her legs.
Yeah, I'm different.
Do we, true to his word, consents to this spell?
Okay. And it's for yourself, Mr. Rabbit. It is DC 16 with a Zone of Truth Charisma saving throw.
Charisma.
And while you're rolling that charisma save, Harry, with a 20 on your perception, 14 and 20, we'll take the 20 because you had advantage from Lyra's help. As you begin examining the room, Harry, towards the south, as you feel around the stones, there's a small gap indicating possibly there was a secret passage here, currently closed. But even more interestingly, as you feel across it, it looks like stone. But as your hands trace it, it feels smooth to the touch, and you see your fingertips are passing through an illusion. And as you run your hands across and listen with your ears, you hear the sound of your paws scraping across what sounds like either glass or crystal. And that is where we're going to wrap up for tonight, I think.
Oh my god.
This has been fun, hasn't it? Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you so much for Obscenities for summoning that NPC. Dewey has been sitting on the back burner for a little bit while we waited for a chance to bring him in, and this is such a good opportunity. Lyra casting Summon Fae, I could not turn it down. Plus, it's pretty fucking hilarious. He's in this situation with you. His character description is outstanding. He is your stereotypical horny bard who is a hemophobe. He hates blood. Absolutely hates it. So this is going to be excellent.
He's in for a bad time.
This is going to be excellent. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us once again. It has been an absolute pleasure and delight playing D&D and sharing our adventures with you. If you're listening to this on the podcast or watching this on YouTube, we are only, I think, 20 people away from hitting 1.5k subs on YouTube.
Hey.
If you could help us get there before December, that would be absolutely amazing. We're going to do a special 1.5k subscriber special video. It's going to be a Q&A special. At this point, I'm actually going to leave it as a vote for people to choose. I'll put it up as a poll on YouTube for which one we want to do a Q&A for, but it'll be a mid-season Q&A for either Legacy of Kyoshi, Return of the Giants, or Curse of Strahd, and it'll be a Q&A with what-if moments, and I will, as long as it's not going to spoil future stuff, answer any and all questions that you have for things that might have been, things that were, things that are, things that have not yet come to pass. I could not resist the opportunity to use Galadriel's line. But yeah, that'll be one of our specials, and then there's another secret special, which I'm not going to reveal, but will be coming out, which will be excellent. So, thank you so much. For those of you watching on Twitch, don't go anywhere. We are going to go and raid one of our lovely friends of the channel. It's so nice. The aircon's on. I'm feeling so nice and cool. Normally by this point in the night, I'm quite sweaty. Poppy approves. What more could I ask? So much approval. Let's go and raid. None of our usual friends are raiding. Why don't we go and raid the Plot Hook? They're doing Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That sounds like fun. Let's go and raid them. I'll get that raid started. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay well, and we will see you all again very, very soon. And it is going to be a spicy session next week. In fact, this whole arc, this second half of the Stone Giant arc has been flavorful. Crazy. It's like we've dosed it with the narrative equivalent of MSG, and I am lapping up that umami flavor excellently. So thank you so much, everybody. We will see you all next time. Until then, farewell, everybody. Goodbye. See ya. Bye. Bye.